This is not a joke. It's not a turn-by-turn thing here. I wouldn't be here. After this election, stop coddling Showore and having him running his mouth. He cannot win a single local government. So
you are the
why
one
are you
running your
treating me
mouth.
like
Stop, be
right?
respectful to Zore. Cast
So
here and
please
be insulting Zore.
mute
Are
that
you mad?
Amori. Mute,
Are you alright?
mute that guy.
Are you
Mute
okay?
him. It's my turn.
Are you mad?
Mute that boy
You are
right
not
now.
insulting Zore.
Okay? Mute,
Hold on.
mute that son of a bitch.
No. No. Pansa, no, you don't say. No, this is not good. You see, this what I think I've said. Why do you people want me to be making commentary? Editorial commentary on this. This is your chance to speak, but you guys are making me to make editorial commentary. Why do we think that? Hold on, Pansa, hold on. I'll call you when I'm done. Hold on, everybody, hold on. Why do all of us think that we are that important? Anybody, whoever you are. Why is this? Do you think this election will? I've seen the world. I don't know where you live. I don't know how you study history. I've seen the world. Nothing. This is not the end. This is not the end. We can't allow people to come here and talk this way. It's not good. You can make your point and quietly, and people will get your point. You understand? Nobody. No, not yet. I'm not.
Tinubu is a criminal, yes, of course, a categorical grade 1 criminal. The only person more criminal than Tinubu in Nigeria is probably Babangida. But he's a criminal, and is he fit for purpose? Absolutely not. Should Tinubu be the president of Nigeria? Categorical no. Is there a better option than him? That is subjective. So show me who he is.
Good evening from beautiful England. Welcome to this weekend's episode of Health You Say 247. My name is Sho, and I'll be your host for the next 3 hours. My CEO, Dr. Damages, also known as Rudolph, is on assignment. There are a few topics we're going to be covering today, today being the 19th of October 2024. So there are a few topics we'll be covering over the next 3 hours. We'll, welcome our panelists to join us in the discussion. We'll be discussing Tinubu and Shettima being out of the country. So who is currently running Nigeria? If the president and the VP are both out of the country, does it mean anything? Does it happen in the part of the world where you are? Does it happen anywhere, in Africa? We'll be comparing. Also, we'll be discussing, hopefully we'll get to it, Very Dark Man, Don Jazzy, all of that is one of the topics of discussion as well. And also the World Bank have prescribed 15 more years of suffering for Nigerians. They've said the economic policies of President Tinubu right now, we need to stick at it for the next 15 years. And hopefully, there'll be light at the end of the tunnel. What do Nigerians think about the recommendation of the World Bank and IMF and people like that? So these are some of the topics we're going to be discussing today over the next 3 hours. I'm hoping that, when forefathers take over after 3 hours, there'll be room to discuss other things. I know people want to discuss creation of another state. I think Ogoja is past, the creation of Ogoja state has passed the second reading. People also want to talk about the collapse of the national grid. I think it's collapsed about 3 times in 48 hours. So there are many, things happening in Nigeria, and I know forefathers will take it to the rest of the world. So there'll be a lot of things to discuss for the next 6 to 9 hours. But for these 3 hours, we'll be touching on the president and the VP being out of the country. We'll touch on what the World Bank recommended for us to do, and we'll also try and touch on Very Dark Man, Don Jazzy, the Falanos, and the rest of it. Be careful what you say to the Falanos, otherwise you might be asked to pay 500 million naira. I can see Mr. James is in the backstage. I'm going to bring you on shortly. I'm just going to play 1 or 2 videos and I'll bring the panelists on. I would also share the link shortly. So let me front load my evidence before the court will say that the evidence came in too late. So I would front load my evidence. Bear with me 1 second.
George Bernard Shaw said, progress is impossible without change. And those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. The word for crisis in the Chinese language is Wei Des. Wei stands for opportunity, and De for change. Nigeria beckons at you. Nigeria is calling on you, and we are ready for business.
All right, so you heard the vice president saying that we are ready for business, and I think he spoke a bit of Chinese. We're learning Chinese. I think every Nigerian should try and learn Chinese because we might need it sooner than you think. But the vice president said that we're ready. He went to Sweden to attract investors, to get people to come and do business in Nigeria. He said we're ready. The president is also out of the country. He took a 2-week working holiday. I don't know what that means, but he's on holiday while he's still working. Went to London for a week and is going to France from London. So we have a situation where the president is away, the vice president is away. Mr. James, welcome to the show. And Ernest, I see you as well. Welcome to the show. Mr. James, so the president and the vice president are out of the country. Is that something that is commonly done in other parts of the world? And even if they do so, do you think Nigeria should be doing the same?
Well, when we want to compare ourselves with other people, it should I say, reasonable part of the world.
Yes.
Good. This is not the first time this is happening in Nigeria. When I was in high school, I think Shagari and Alex Ekweme were out of the country, and Dr. Joseph Wires was acting president for 16 days. I do not know what took them out of the country. I cannot remember. That was during my high school days, I think. That's the first time it happened in Nigeria. But however, Joseph Wire was officially handed over to, and the nation was informed that for XYZ reasons, these people will not be around, and Wires will be the acting president. So I think it's the fault. Anyway, that's what happened during my high school day. That was between 1979 and 83. 16 of those days, he was acting president of Nigeria. Then I was told that it also happened during Buhari's time. I'm not a fan of Buhari, so I could not keep track of the record of what was going on. Anyway, what is disturbing is this. The country right now is in a precarious situation. Anything can happen. We are not praying for calamities to befall the country. Even if the country will dissolve, it should do so peacefully. We are not praying for calamities to befall the country. But a situation whereby, this I don't care attitude, nonchalant attitude these guys are displaying is very, very disturbing. People are crying that people are dying of hunger, starvation. A lot of unspeakable, unimaginable things are happening in the country. And they had the effrontery to turn their back on the country and just walk away as if nothing is happening. I think enough should be enough. This is how I see it, because let me be very blunt. It's a mark of administrative irresponsibility on their part. Assuming as we are talking right now, Cameroon happened to invade Nigeria. What happens? Because as for Akpabio, even if he's handed over to secretly, he's in a position to say, I was not handed over to. We have no proof to take him to task. That's the Senate president. So what actually is happening? We voted these people to office to manage the country in a fashion acceptable to us. But from the look of things, our interest means nothing, absolutely nothing to these people. So this is how I see the whole show. But one thing is certain, here in the Gambia where I live, there's a saying that hot water cannot remain hot forever. It will cool down. It's just a question of time.
Wise words, Mr. James. Thank you for your submission. Revolution, Dan, I see you. Welcome to the show. The president is out of town. The vice president is out of town. Now, I see someone in the comment section. Oriyomi Abdul, good to see you. Oriyomi Abdul. Yeah, Oriyomi Abdul. It's been a long time. Good to see you in the comment section. CTV and the rest. Tracy Jacobin said, my CEO, Dr. Damages, is also out of town. That, I have no grounds to be complaining, but I'm in town. So, Dan, or Revolution, as you prefer to be called these days, both of them are out of the country. What is your take on that?
Good evening from my side. I know it's good morning somewhere else. And Mr. James, hello, sir, and everybody, Sure, well done. So you see the problem in Nigeria, like you said very well, you said it correctly, that these days I prefer to be called revolution. That's the situation of Nigeria, my brother. There's nothing happening in that country. These guys, if you permit me to say, they were not voted into power. Tinubu have said it. He used his money and power to come into that place. So when you see people like that ruling a big nation like Nigeria, you don't expect so much. They can do whatever they like. What can we say about it? Nothing. You understand what I mean, Sure? There's not, even if we talk about it, if the people who know the technicalities of constitution, government, even they talk and talk and talk and talk, nothing will change. Shettima is in Sweden, where I live. Even they didn't show it 1 second in the TV, Swedish TV that Vice President of Nigeria arrived or so. You know what I mean? There's nothing.
Did you see the video I played when he went to visit the princess? Didn't you see him in the blue agbada looking all?
I saw it, but what I mean, it is not a. I'm married to a Swedish woman. She don't even know about it, things like that. You know what I mean? So we don't know whether maybe he went in that private visit or something. But it is not. It's nothing that we can talk about. You understand what I'm trying to say? These people are not respected. Nobody cares. They know what is happening in Nigeria. Outrightly, they know. So let me come to that question. Why are they out? Whether they don't care about Nigeria. You understand me? To be honest with you, these guys, they are not doing anything in Nigeria. As far as I'm concerned, petrol has gone up. You just said that the national grid went down 3 times in 48 hours. They don't even care about that. For them, they just keep fooling us. Oh, we are going to attract business for Nigeria. Since they've been saying this, have they brought any business to Nigeria till today? No. So them leaving Nigeria, in my own view or in my own opinion, my brother, it has nothing to do with me, and they have nothing to do for Nigeria. And they are leaving Nigeria. It's like, bro, let us go and enjoy ourselves while we have the time. That's what I think so. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Revolution. Tony, okay, welcome to the show. I think it's the first time I'm meeting you. I've seen you on some of the shows that I've not joined, but I've seen you on Electricity run a few shows. But welcome to the show. So just to ask you, the president and his vice, they both left. And one of the spokesman, Mr. Bayo Nonoga, have come out guns blazing as always, very predictable, to say there's nothing to worry. There's the Senate president, there's the Secretary of State, Secretary of the government, Secretary to the federal government. So almost like saying they've devolved power to these guys. We're not sure if it's official or not. I mean, in all of this, what's your take on it? Do you think it's proper that they both leave, or for you, does it make no difference?
Thank you, everyone. Revolution. Thank you, Mr. James, and thank you, George. Nice to be on the platform yet again. Nigeria is a very difficult case to study, particularly when you look at what is happening in the country. the president, the one critical issue is that there's really no transparency in government, in governance in Nigeria. So a lot of the time, what you hear, things that you pick on the streets and so on, or potpourri, you don't. The citizenry are usually not very informed of what's happening in government, and it's a problem. There are speculations that the president officially we're told that he is on working leave, but there are speculations that there's more to it than meets the eye. He moved from France, from UK to France, from what we hear. The vice president is away. And I am not aware that anybody, was officially asked to act on behalf in the absence of the president and the vice president. And the worst of it all is that even the army chief of staff is away. So who is in charge of the government as we speak today in Nigeria? And these are some of the things you don't see happen outside Nigeria. That's why I say it's really a case that defiles sometimes reasoning in terms of what we do. Unlike is it James or Revolution said, assuming we just had some turbulence in the Senate, because if you go by the order, the Senate president is supposed to be number 3, and we just had some turbulence and rowdy sessions in the Senate, rumors about impeachment and so on and so forth. And yet, this is someone who's supposed to be the number 3, piloting the affairs of the country. So, but it portrays, it just shows on the surface, the optics just shows that all is not well with our country, and it's a shame. The only thing we've heard is from his media person, that, he's away and all is well. All is not well. All is not well. This is not how a state is run. I'm in a country where you can't find this. We are trying to model from the United States, and you don't find this kind of a thing happen. And if it does happen, people question it. So that's why I say I don't know what we're running, whether we're running democracy or demonstration of grace. I just can't understand. I can't situate our own politics, the way we're running things, and it's just chaos from top to bottom.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Tony. I'm going to stay with you. So, Mr. James alluded to the fact that, you give an example to say, let's imagine even Cameroon decide to attack Nigeria for whatever reason. The president is not around, the vice president is not around. And like you mentioned, there are rumors, circulating that the chief of army staff, Mr. Taurid Lagbaja, is also out of the country. Sarah reporters are reporting that he's out on medical treatment, that a lot of people are already jostling for his position. So now the president is not in town, the vice president is not in town, the chief of army staff is not in town. In terms of security, even for the security of Nigeria, do you worry or do you think there's nothing to fear?
No,
Tony. I'm staying with Tony.
There's a lot to fear. I mean, even when they are here, are we not fearing? Are people secure? There's a lot. I mean, what's the priority of the nation? I mean, I'm totally bemused because I don't understand what's going on. First of all, I talked about transparency because you don't really know what is happening. People don't know what is happening. So the optics, the picture that is painted is from the top. Is that it's a house that is divided against itself. Like you just said, people are jostling. The army chief is not around, and you hear that people are jostling to see whether they can take over his position or whatever. There is no defined. Even though we have structures that define totally the way things should go when this person is not who is number 3, and then of course it should automatically seamlessly come into play. That is what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to be told, because that's the order, that things should go. But here, you don't really know who is in charge, even beyond the nation being attacked. Assuming we have an emergency, is it the spokesperson that will be telling us what to? Wasn't it an emergency? So my thinking is that, I go back again to say that this country is being run like a banana republic. There's the state capture, so everybody is like, just sit down, look. Because issues, the things that people should speak up about, we're not doing that. We're not. The only ones who are speaking are the youths, the young ones. They are the ones that are speaking, and they're in spite of the fact that they're putting them in jail and doing all kinds of things. They are the ones that are resilient, are active on social media, and they're talking. If you take them out of this equation, this country will die, if it has not died already. So my worry really is that, the way we're going, there are signposts. We're seeing the guardrails now. We're seeing the signposts now that, this ship, is, for me, rudderless. If it's a plane, God forbid, it may crash.
All right. Thank you, Tony. Okay. Revolution, I'll come to you. So, Tony said that, we should speak up. Majority of Nigerians should start to speak up. Shouldn't only be the young people who are on social media who are speaking up. One of the things that came to light in the last week is that the governor of Ondo State, and there's an election coming up in November in a few weeks in Ondo State. The current governor, Aye Titawa or something, he succeeded his predecessor who passed away. So he was the deputy governor and is the governor, and he's going to be running, of course. And it's just come to light that, one of the things in the budget is that he spent 775 million naira on the State House gate. 775 million naira is spent. There's a Twitter handle that I will recommend a lot of Nigerians who are on Twitter should follow, because they go through the budget of the nation and also the states, and they reveal a lot of anomalies in the budget. Another thing that came to light is the governor of, I think, Akwa Ibom, Mr. Pastor, I believe. They budgeted 9 billion naira to renovate his lodge and his deputy's lodge. That is more than how much they budgeted to renovate Dodam Barracks for Tinubu and the vice president's lodge. So, in terms of speaking up, I know we talk about the federal government a lot, but in terms of speaking up, how do you think we can tackle our state governors? Because they are still closer to us than the federal government. Or do you think it's just a futile effort, just rip everything apart?
Yeah, thank you for that beautiful question. It's very beautiful because P2B said something. If the person on top is not stealing, you understand me? They don't born anybody well to steal where they below the president. But when you see the president and the family, look at Oluremi Tinubu statue, golden statue erected in OAU, for example. The president himself bought himself a very nice aeroplane. Yacht and all this. So what do you expect the state governors to do? You understand what I'm telling you now? They follow there's a song, they say, follow the leader, follow the leader. The leader is enjoying himself. They themselves on the state level, they give them, they take the money of the local government, they seize everything. They have so much in their power. If VP Lodge was renovated 21 billion naira, why the state governor no go take in his own share, repair himself? Why we did not, with Ondo State, not use 700 and something million naira to just fix gate? Who is questioning them? We are living in a situation of impunity. Nobody questions what they do. That brings me back to where we are standing with Showore. Only revolution of any sort. Okay, let me give you an instance, because also I know a little history. The Americans, the black Americans, those days where they used to put them in the bus, they say the black have to sit here. the White House. If you remember that history,
Yes.
How did they stop it? They stopped it by boycotting the buses. They started walking to work. And when the bus owners, who were the white people, saw that income was not coming again, they fought and fought and fought until they banned that, they removed that system because they were losing. That's why we are telling Nigerians, all these things, and let me finish with this. Let me just add this one there so that it will rhyme very well. This brother Amechi told us, you people, we are doing this thing because you people are not reacting. You don't stone us. Even the last time he came up again, he said with the hunger in Nigeria today, he's so surprised Nigerians are not protesting. So when you put all these things together, you see that that question has been answered. The governors or even any Dick and Harry can do whatever they do in Nigeria because the leader is doing what he's doing, leave the country on any level, the vice president leave on any level. Nobody, if you talk and talk, are we not talking on the social media now? Without that is why I respect this program and I always come to this program. Because you cannot keep it into yourself. Because if you keep it to yourself, one day you go mad. You can even explode. So these are the medium where we come, we meet ourselves like this and voice it. After voicing now, when I go to work now, my head will be free. I'll be moving and say, at least I've said my own. So when there's impunity in a system, from up, the top up is fucking up, what do you expect the state governors to do? My brother, what do you, let us call a space. What do you expect them to do? The leader is stealing. I will steal too. Peter B said it. If the leader is not stealing, why should you steal? Let me stop here, bro, before I scatter my brain, man.
Thank you, Revolution. So, Mr. James, I'll come to you. While Tony was speaking, the Twitter handles for those who are asking in the comment section. So those are two Twitter handles I would recommend that you follow, or X handles. They are run by Nigerians. It's non-partisan. It doesn't matter. Even Alex Oti of Labour Party was caught up in one of those things where it was revealed that they budgeted 1.5 billion to buy two cars. I can't remember the brand, but they quickly came out and said it was a mistake. It was meant to be 150 million. But so just to let you know that it's not partisan, but they look at the budget, national and state, and they point things out. And it's left to Nigerians to do whatever they want to do with this information. But if you're on Twitter, follow those handles. It's not to pay that VAT. But I just think it's good for people to know how their money is being spent. I mean, I saw on one of these handles that Edo State Polytechnic, I think they requested 600 million and they ended up getting 40 billion plus, 40 billion naira more than they requested. So what they submitted to National Assembly was 600 million naira. They got 40 point something billion. And you're saying projects, Edo State Polytechnic to construct roads in Osun State, Edo State Polytechnic to construct roads in Kano. Things that would just make you think, what are we doing? But Mr. James, I'll come to you. So while Tony was speaking, Tony said that, transparency is very important when these when the politicians travel abroad. Do you fear that we might end up having something similar to what is happening in Cameroon? Because if you remember, when President Tinubu was president-elect, and he went to France, and no one saw him until they released a 3-second video of him and Femi Gbajabiamila walking the streets of Paris or wherever in France, after like a month of people looking for him. And his supporters said to us, leave him alone. He's still a private citizen. When he becomes president, when he's sworn in, you can then ask for his whereabouts. Now he's been sworn in and he goes away. It's almost like you're not allowed to ask for his whereabouts. Now in Cameroon, Paul Biya is 90-something years old. He still wants to contest. He's not been seen in public for over a month. And the Cameroonian government have placed a ban, official ban, on all TV and radio stations from discussing his health or his whereabouts. You are no longer allowed to discuss his whereabouts because they said it's national security matters. Do you worry that Nigeria can get to that point where we're told not to discuss the president's health, his whereabouts?
No, I'm not worried at all because we have the capability to degenerate below that level. So what we are seeing now is just a child's play. But one thing people should know is this. When we're analyzing the developments of events in the country, we seem to believe the lies those in government tell us. The president has gone to XYZ for medical checkup, so you assume it's medical checkup. what's his name? Shettima has gone to Sweden for whatever it is. You believe that is exactly what he went there for. I think there's more to these things than we are seeing, because I always emphasize something on this platform. Before the 2023 election, these men and women, they trooped to Chatham House in the United Kingdom. What transpired in that house? Nobody has been able to come out to tell us. A situation whereby Yakubu Gowon, of all people, Buhari, what's his name, Mr. Tinubu, were in the UK at the same time. I'm just hearing now that the army general or whatever they call him is not in the country. The vice president is not in the country. Look, man, we are in for a very big trouble. The foreign powers are squeezing these guys' balls, and they don't know what to do. Take it or leave it. It is possible they deceive them to go to the UK or whatever it is. They just tell them, sit down. You're going nowhere until you sign this document. It's not a remote possibility. It's very possible. Nigeria is finished, as we are talking right now. Meanwhile, crude oil theft is going on unchecked. They are just stealing as much as they want. That's a sector, I mean, nobody's talking about. And those who are into the business, not only Nigerians and their foreign collaborators, they are just having a field day. Nobody's talking. So as far as I'm concerned, the country is completely finished. And what is the cause of all this? When Nigeria was Nigeria, we were careless. And this is the price we are paying for it. There's a book I read, I can't remember, is it a book or an article, which says that if you want to fight a nation, if you want to destroy or demolish a nation, you don't need ballistic missiles. Just attack the educational system. The Nigerian educational system has been under consistent attack for the past 30 years. We produce surplus, substandard graduates, wishy-washy graduates, even PhD degree holders. I have the experience of working with some PhD degree holders from Nigeria. In fact, there's a female professor among them whose question paper to her student contained grammatical error. So that tells you this type of education we are giving our children for the past 30 years. This is the outcome. Somebody rightly mentioned just now that it is even the youth who are complaining. The old men of my type are not even complaining. The issue is because they lack the capability to reason critically because of the type of education they received in the universities. So this is what is disturbing the country right now. It is the youth, through this social media networking, they're able to know what is happening in other parts of the world. So they are using their initiative to find out what is going wrong with the country. But for the old men like me, I think they call us BBC, born before computer, who cannot even operate a mobile phone, they really don't know what is happening in Cameroon or the Republic of Benin, let alone the United States. So for them to reason properly is very difficult, and they've not been reading. That's to make the matters, terribly bad. They've not been reading, they've not been updating their knowledge. So whenever they're analyzing issues, they rely on residual knowledge. This is what is disturbing the country right now. Right in the state houses, in all the 36 states, and even the federal capital. I mean, is it not surprising to you that a boy like Rufai Hussaini can sit a professor down and rubbish him? He will tell him, look, I put it to you that this excellent, you hear a professor blabbing. You know what it means to be a professor? When I was in Nigeria, the professors that taught us, when they speak, it's as good as listening to Aristotle, Socrates, Plato. But that's not the kind of professors we have these days. So for a boy, a well-read boy like Hussaini, to rubbish them, look, man, we are in for a very big trouble.
Rufai Hussaini is also a doctor now, so just
okay, but no matter what, considering his age,
I know
the generation he belongs, that boy deserves a pat on the back, and I wish he will not rest on his oars. He should aim higher.
All right. Thank you, Dan. I'll come to you before I go to Man of Prestige quickly. But before I go to you, Dan, since Mr. James took us there with Rufai Hussaini being a journalist or, talk show host, whatever you want to call him. I just think you'll be the decent thing to do. And thankfully someone also said it in the comment section and I saw it. It'll be the decent thing to do to remember someone who passed away. Sorry, someone that was killed 38 years ago today. Delegiwa, Mr. Delegiwa was a journalist, received a letter bomb due to the investigative journalism work he was doing. So may his soul rest in peace, and may God be with his family. His family lost him. Nigeria lost him 38 years ago. 1986 was when he was murdered for the journalistic work he's been doing. And to all those who are quick to criticize our journalists, today is an opportunity to show your love for journalists who are doing the right thing. Support them in little ways you can support them. Buy their books, retweet their tweets, repost whatever they post. Support the ones that are doing the right thing. We can't say 100% is bad in Nigeria. So the ones that you think are doing right, support them. Buy their books. Talk about them to people, play their YouTube videos. Even if you're not going to watch it, click on play. You live in the West. It doesn't cost you much. Your data is unlimited. Click on play. Go and do whatever you want to do. They get some revenue, through doing that. So please support the journalists that you think are doing right in Nigeria. Once again, may the soul of Mr. Delegiwa continue to rest in peace. Revolution, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, sorry for interjecting. I don't normally do that, but I want to just say something. Mr. James is a man I respect a lot, not because he lives in Gambia where I live too when I'm not here. But, there's this system or this topic or this word that we used to say. We blame the Western world for why our leaders are messing up. You understand? Even when I go and talk to some people, they say, oh, the white people, this. I tell them, it is not true. We are an independent nation. We are free, whether we like it or not. The problem is not the white people. The white people are businessmen. What they are doing with Nigerians or we Africans is on business terms. They also live through us. So if our leaders decide to come and build a house in their country or stay in their 5-star hotel, do you want them to refuse the money? And please, I want somebody to correct me because people have been saying this thing. Hold on, Mr. James. This Chatham House, people are saying every time they come to Chatham House. Is it in our law that before you become a presidential candidate that you have to go to Chatham House? Please, those of you who know about this, our laws. Is it written somewhere that you have to present yourself there to be questioned by these people before you will run for Nigeria presidency? Thank you.
No, quick answer is the answer is no, it's not in our laws. But I understand what Mr. James is saying. If you look around the world, you would see the footprint of the West. Once there's a leader who is not doing their bidding, they take you out. I mean, go to read history of Panama, Mexico, Venezuela, even Africa. Nkrumah, even this young man. Sorry, I shouldn't say young man. I don't like when people say that. The Burkina Faso military man. They've made 10, 15 attempts to take him out. So what the danger is there, is present. You just need people who are willing to stand up and fight for their people. They've made attempt on that young man's life.
Well, sure.
There's a reason why. Listen. There's a reason why people like Paul Biya can be where he is, and the West won't say that is a coup. They don't care. Let a military guy take out Paul Biya, and you will see the Western world will come and say that's a coup. We don't support that. But Paul Biya could be there for 200 years. So that's what we're saying, that this thing exists. We're not saying it's enough not to try.
Yeah, sure. What I want to say before I leave this matter is, who are they using to take out these people? Is it not African people?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I'm not admitting that.
That's my problem. Is when are we going to be educated enough to know that we don't have to listen to these people again, so that we can solve our problem ourselves?
Okay, Mr. James, 1 minute so I can go to man of press.
Yeah, you see, Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, the project he executed there is what is keeping the country afloat today. Akosombo Dam, Tema Port, and other, structures. The CIA removed him. Murtala Mohammed, who fought corruption headlong in Nigeria, February 13, 1976, Sukabuka Dimka was in the British High Commission in Lagos before they killed Murtala Mohammed on February 13, 1976. Patrice Lumumba of Congo, the Belgians killed him. Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso, the French, with the help of Blaise Compaoré, killed him. Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe did not know peace till he died. Whenever we have progressive African leaders, the West, not the Eastern countries, the Western countries, don't let them know peace. This is the point I'm making. Africa is for Africans. They should leave us alone.
All right. Thank you. Just to throw in another bit of news, Chevron Nigeria, a subsidiary of Chevron Corporation, have announced that they found oil, a new oil block in the shallow offshore area of Western Niger Delta. And they said that area would generate 17,000 barrels of oil per day. So I don't know if that's good news or bad news, but Chevron have just found oil. Man of prestige, staying with the topic. Welcome to the show. The president is in France, we're made to believe. The vice is in Sweden, and he said, we are ready for business. That's the vice president, telling people to come and do business in Nigeria. So with the current state of Nigeria, the power grid has collapsed, God knows how many times in the last 2 days, the insecurity that we currently have, and things like that. Do you think that's the right move to go to countries, spend our money to go advertise to them to come do business? That's the first question. And the second question is, because of the nature of his trip, is it so important that I couldn't wait for the president to come back before he left?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning from here. Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening, Mr. James. I believe you're in Gambia. And sure, good evening in London. Yeah, it's a very important question you just asked. And this is where we find ourselves, So those two questions to begin with, they are all no. Second, no. I mean, what we're going on right now is not even close. I mean, both presidents, they are all away. I mean, I think about two of the former president and our current president, they're both in London. I mean, whatever that may mean. Tinubu said 2 weeks vacation or whatever. How long he's been there? Does anybody have a day that he left?
I think this weekend makes it 2 weeks.
This weekend make it 2 weeks. Okay, we'll see if he's gonna come back next week, But regardless of the situation, that's not a good thing where we find ourselves, I don't really see any kind of headway where we are going to improve that country. I mean, Revolution was talking about we being captured by the Westerns. Yeah, we have, because it seems like we're obligated to them, whatever they tell us, they're borrowing us money, and we're going to do what they say. So that's what it is. But it's a good question that Revolution asks. Why? It's the politicians. Yeah, it seems like they don't have any choice. It's not like we ordinary people that are, doing their bidding. It's the politician. And if they don't do what the foreign people will say, then they might take them out. I think it's about time we get away from this colonization because we're still under colonized. Whichever way you may find it, maybe through financial or other means, they're still controlling, the African country, particularly a big country like Nigeria. That's where we find ourselves right now. What was your second question again? I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying that because of the nature of the trip, the vice president.
Yeah. Okay, I got your question about Shettima, going over there, begging. All he's doing is begging. I mean, sure, if Nigeria is a good country, I mean, the investors will be coming to Nigeria. You don't have to go and beg them because it's for their own benefit. And they're not going to come because we don't have the structure for them to come. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on, I mean, the terrorism that is back, there's no light, there's no structure. I mean, how do you expect business people to come to your country to invest? I mean, when you invest something, as an investor, you're supposed to be profitable. But when you come to Nigeria, you're not going to be profitable. Even, what are you going to use to market your product? Is it not the Naira that kind of depreciated to a drastic, I think as of today, 16 or 17, 1,700 to a dollar. So we are just kind of, degenerating to a very, terrible level. I don't see the purpose of going over there to begging. How many times has Tinubu been on the trips, since he came to power? 7, 8 times that I can recollect. And none of those investors has come to Nigeria and invest because they know what the prospect is. There's no need you coming to Nigeria to invest. I mean, maybe they can go to other countries like Ghana because they're investing in Ghana, Kenya, and other places. But Nigeria is not conducive for them to invest. But they will borrow you money because it's a form of slavery. They will give you the money you want, but you're accountable to them. So that's where we find ourselves right now. But the question you asked me, both of the answer is no. So we're in a terrible place. I don't know how we can emulate ourselves from this predicament we are right now. That's just my opinion in that regard.
Okay. Thank you, man of prestige. Tony, I'll come to you. So the vice president has gone to Sweden to say we're ready for business. In your honest opinion, is Nigeria a destination for business? Would you invest your money in Nigeria?
I find it laughable because these people have representative embassies and high commissions in Nigeria, and they know what is happening. If you look at, they know what is happening with the macro and micro environment. They hear multinationals folding up and leaving the country. They know what the business climate is. They read about the insecurity in the country. They read about the challenge of power, electricity. They see that you don't have a judiciary that is truly the temple of justice. They see all those things. And those are any investor, those are the things that they look at. Not just the market. Yes, we have a large market. But beyond that, if I invest my money and there are conflicts, maybe with the bank or something, is there any guarantee that if I seek redress, legal redress, that I would find justice? Is there any environment? What of your roads? Even if how easy is it to repatriate your capital? So there are issues here, and you don't need to beg an investor. I mean, you don't need to beg investors to come and invest in your country. They see it, they see the opportunity, and they come. So the fact that you are begging, tells a lot that there's something wrong, because you don't need to beg. They are supposed to be begging us to come and invest, but that's not the situation. So that's why I say it's laughable. But I want to I just want to share something with the platform. Recently, that was last month in September, there was a conference, a UN conference of heads of states in New York. And it's funny, the things that happened. You had some European heads of states who came in buses. Some came in small cars. And then you see African heads of states coming, driving in with large entourage, with limousines, driving in. They stay there. Netanyahu, for instance, stayed in Harlem. Harlem would be maybe a place like what I say, Agege, in Nigeria. He stayed in a hotel, in a 3-star hotel in Harlem. He didn't have a large entourage. I think it's him and 1 or 2 people. You need to see the Nigerian entourage. You need to see the entourage of other African heads of state. And they stayed in 5-star hotels in Manhattan. Now you come before the UN and you are asking them to help you. They see the exuberance. You are coming to come and ask them for money. And you are living large. The people you are asking who have the money, are frugal with their money. That's laughable. So the picture that you give is wonder. But the tragedy is that we don't question these things. That's the tragedy, because it's public money they are spending. So if they give you, who would give somebody who that you know is not going to pay? That if you invest in that environment, or if you give him loan, that is not likely to repay you back, because he's not going to manage it well. Where in this world do you have a country, and I'm using Nigeria as an example, where you take loan, and your repayment, part of your repayment is based on oil, crude oil that you have not extracted. You have not extracted it, but you are borrowing against it. So they give you the loan, and then you know that your upstream and downstream sector is totally messed up, fraudulent, no transparency. You don't even know how much you produce. You don't know how much you export. You don't know how much that comes in. Everything is shrouded in secrecy. Massive corruption and looting. And then you are taking a loan, and to say, okay, when we produce this crude, then we will sell it. So you find out eventually when the crude is produced and you refine and so on, part of it already is going already to pay people that you are owing. So there's a shortfall in domestic consumption. And that creates a problem for the same economy that you're trying to rescue. So and yet it's not that we don't have people. It's not that you don't have people who are knowledgeable running the economy. It's just that, what you have here is the political office is just used to gratiate cronies, friends, family, party supporters and so on. And you chop, I chop, so you stay there for 2-3 years or 1 year. There's a reshuffle so that you don't chop your own. The next people have to chop their own. That's the theory of government. That's the policy. And it's unfortunate. But I keep saying that because we don't question those people, we don't really put them to task. So it's and if you do, those who have courage to do, there's a threat. They shut you down, shut your mouth. Okay. So you have to choose whether you want to speak, or you're thinking of your family and so on, and you just want let them just keep doing what they're doing, or you want to take the money, and then just trust that give some to the pastor to pray for Nigeria.
Sure. Can I say something in reference to what Mr. Tony was saying? Just
quickly, in 2 minutes or less.
Yeah, Mr. Tony, that was a good narrative you just brought out. You said we don't question them, but we do this through the social media, because our representatives are not answerable to us. Even at all they have a phone line, they're not going to come to where I'm here in California. We have meeting, with our Congress, men and women every quarter. I mean, in a town hall meeting, we have to question them, and ask what we need, ask our demand. We're paying tax, but there's no means, there's no media to question the, Nigerian representative. They don't answer to you. They don't have any kind of town hall meeting. They don't meet, they don't meet the masses. So how are we going to question them? It's through social media, but they're not listening. So that's the problem we have. It's not that people are not ready to question them. They are ready to question them. And sometimes when you question them, they try, they truncate you or they put you to jail. Look at how many people in jail right now in Nigeria. I mean, so that's the problem. We are just living in the quagmire countries. I don't have a solution to it, okay? But if somebody has a solution, please bring it out. Thank you.
Thank you, man of prestige. Part of what I'll be doing every time I appear on this show, if I'm hosting or a panelist, every Saturday when I appear on this show, I will just bring out some facts that I've found online. Not that I did any investigation myself, but things that I find that, can make Nigerians react and ask questions. I mean, another thing that might shock you is that Bayelsa State, they've budgeted 700 million naira to buy 50 torchlights and walkie-talkies. Bayelsa State, in their budget. 700 million naira to buy 50 torchlights and walkie-talkies. Now, the people of Bayelsa State will be shouting at National Assembly, which they have a right to do, and they should do so. But Bayelsa is closer to them than Abuja. They should ask questions. Mr. James, so Vice President has gone to Sweden to ask for people to come and invest. What did the Obasanjo regime do differently that made foreigners come to invest in Nigeria? And also some Nigerians. I know so many Nigerians, all those Egbons back then in the late 90s, early 2000s especially, came back home to invest because they believed in what Obasanjo was saying to them. What is different between the Obasanjo administration and the current one?
Yeah, you mean some Nigerians came to invest in Nigeria?
Yes.
Good. Now, we should get something very clear, particularly with this administration. Foreigners are investing massively in Nigeria, massively. But what we call investment is different from their own kind of investment. The crude oil theft we are talking about, who are those running the business internationally? Are they not running it with Nigerians? The Malta, what's it called, refinery, when they refine their product there, where do they sell it? Is it only in Nigeria? The byproduct from the what called refinery, where do they sell it? Is it only in Nigeria? There are a lot of things going on outside the shores of Nigeria. I think somebody just mentioned here just now that some deposits of crude oil was discovered in Niger Delta or somewhere
yes,
like
Niger Delta area. It's 17,000 liters barrels.
Do you know? I'm just guessing. Do you know if that is the reason why these guys are traveling abroad? To make deals with people outside. And whenever they pay the money, it will never enter the Federation account. They have special accounts where these things are well sorted out. You get the point I'm making. It is possible for a company in Finland, another one in maybe, Herzegovina, in Israel, or whatever it is, running this show with the backings of their government. There is need for the retired, crooks in Nigeria to assemble somewhere to work out the modalities. And when these people are commenting on Nigeria, they tell you the government is a very responsible one, is working very hard. You need to bear it for another 50 years for things to be all right. Look, a lot of things are happening, which you and me will never see behind the scene. It's not the little industries they bring here producing sweets or chocolates that is investment to these guys. In a deal, just only one deal, they make billions of dollars out of it. Just sign the papers and that's all. The goods will be delivered outside the country. So a lot of things are going on. They are investing massively in Nigeria. Take it from me. There's massive investment going on. If not, they would put them out of government and put men and women of their choice. And this is not only happening with Nigeria. In Sierra Leone, for example, most of the minerals have been mortgaged long ago in Sierra Leone. You see the youth trooping out of the country because life is so horrible there. So this is just what is going on all over Africa. These people are investing massively in Nigeria. All these petty closing up here and there in the country, they have no significance to them. They are designed to fool people like you and me into believing that they are investing in Nigeria. So this is just it. There's investment going on.
All right.
Behind this.
Thank you, Mr. James. On that note, we'll bring this topic to an end. We've spent exactly 1 hour. That's fantastic. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll discuss the World Bank. They sent their vice president or senior vice president to Nigeria to tell us what to do. But let's take a short break, and we'll come back and discuss that.
Onye ọma zoro bio akwa nwa zoro bio Max ịbịa bunye gokwanụ m n'ofube n'azụ ụlaga n'ịbịa zugo mmanwụ ụlaga do n'ịbịa zugo akwa nwa nwa ilochi yo biko rapụ zoro ka ọ nabazi ya Onye ọma zoro biko abụmma nwa sorry. Ibia wunyane gwana mo. Ulagadori biazigobenu. Mo ulagadori biazigo. Abamba wilo chila. Bigora buzoro. Ona wazi. Mazi wekoma. Odoguna kwerezu nanka. Onyoma niga delemo. Mazi ni biazigo. Go with the melody.
All right. Thank you, everyone, and welcome back to Have You Say 247. Today being the 19th of October 2024. So the second topic we're going to be discussing today is the prescription of the World Bank to Nigeria. They sent one of their goons to Nigeria, and they told, he advised Nigeria to carry on with the Bola Ahmed Tinubu economic policies, that if we stick at this for the next 15 years, Nigeria will be a better place. Take a listen to what he said and the reaction of the upper middle class, if that exists, their reaction to it.
But this is only the beginning. Nigeria will need to stay the course for at least another 10 to 15 years to transform its economy. So I don't know if you're agreeing with me or if you're disagreeing with me. If it does that, it will transform its economy and it will become an engine of growth in sub-Saharan Africa, and it will help to transform sub-Saharan Africa. It's very difficult to do these things, but the rewards are massive. So this is the lesson from the last 40 years, as well as the experience of countries such as India, such as Poland, such as Korea, such as Norway.
So, all had the man's name. I don't even care to know his name. Let me start on a lighter note. Most of you will know what this is about. But when he said, the benefit will be massive, it just made me think the guy is like Igungun. If you don't know Igungun, don't worry. Man of Prestige might know him. And Nigeria is one of those girls that Igungun interview and is telling Nigeria to say, that's massive, baby. And Nigeria is jumping up and down and saying, that's massive, baby. It's telling us that the benefit will be massive if we stick at this for the next 15 years. Now, let me table a few things, and you can add yours when you get the chance to speak. So, the direct impact of these economic policies means that petrol is sold in Nigeria at 1,200 naira, 1,100 thereabouts, which means the minimum wage in Nigeria does not even buy you 70 liters. If you take all of your salary for 1 month, it does not buy you 70 liters of petrol. And people are in Nigeria saying that they're spending 100,000 naira a week for those who can have decent cars. I think they spend 100,000 naira a week to fill their cars. So I'm talking about the direct impact of these policies. I saw a video where Nigerian women are going to fish cold room to buy box of head of Titus fish. You buy the fishmongers will buy, or the fish sellers will go and buy a box of Titus fish or sardine or shower or whatever and go and split it and sell it as retailers. Now they have box of just the head for 18,000 naira, and even the retailers are sharing it. You see 2-3 people, they pay 6,000 each, and they take the head to their store and be selling the head of fish to Nigerians, because that's what some people can afford right now. The direct impact is also that education, there's no funding for it. Health, there's no funding for it. I mean, the price of petrol has gone from 185 naira to 1,200. So the people are literally trying to breathe, and they cannot. And World Bank is saying, keep at it. Keep doing what you're doing for another 15 years, and then you would get respite. how many people will be left at the end of this 15 years? Mr. James, I know, this is a topic you would like to talk on. So if you were advising the Nigerian president and you've just listened to what the VP of the World Bank said, what would you say to Mr. President?
No, I cannot advise him because he will not listen. He has made up his mind.
It's hypothetical.
No, so that is that. You see, we are looking at these things from two radically different points of view. We are looking at it as Nigerians in Nigeria. The international financial institutions, they are looking at it from their own point of view. Now, they are saying we should continue with this process. The Indians and others went through it. As for the Indians, they invested massively in this IT business. Before they produced their nuclear, what they call reactors, they sent their sons and daughters to the finest universities in the world to read engineering, physics, chemistry, nuclear physics, and what have you. They invested massively. What is Nigeria doing in preparation for that, industrial revolution they are talking about? You get the point? So yes. The man is representing the International Monetary Institution, Bretton Woods, World Bank, Paris Club, and what have you. From their point of view, they are making fantastic profit. You don't know how much Nigerians are investing abroad from ill-gotten wealth, in the country. This Malta, what they call refinery, is that the only refinery they have abroad? Do they have other industries abroad? How much are these industries generating, which we know nothing about in Nigeria? So these are the things this man is seeing, which you and me are not seeing. So we should get things right. I always say that Aristotle said that if people get the government they deserve, there's no need for us to be talking so much about all these things. If we are tired of saying we are tired, we will know what to do to put an end to this, I don't know what to call it. So that is how I see it. We are looking at things from it's just like good and bad. Good and bad are relative. What is good to you might not be good to me. What is bad, that is just how it is. We live in a very funny world these days. So as long as we allow people to be reasoning for us, with all the PhD economics, professors of this and that in Nigeria, we still allow foreigners to come and reason for us that this is how people live. That shows that fundamentally, there's something wrong with the system. There's need for a revolutionary government to take over the administration of the country. Because without a revolution, there will never be a change. And I always say, not all revolution bring about the desired changes. So we must make sure we guide the revolution. Should we have a revolutionary government, they deserve massive support of the people to get us out of this mess. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Mr. James. So, Tony, I'm going to come to you quickly. So, the man from World Bank is spoken on behalf of his organization and what they want for Africa. They don't even hide it anymore, like we've all agreed, it's left for Africans to stand up for Africans. But one of the impacts of their economic policies is the current interest rate in Nigeria is 27.25%. So to do business as a Nigerian, say you want to borrow money and do business, you're looking at 27.25%. In the UK, it's 5%. In the US, it's between 4.7 and 5.2. But even I checked South Africa, it's 11%. It's double digit, but still it's 11%. I checked Burkina Faso, I'm seeing 5.5, 5.6, 6.5, those sort of digits. Those are African countries. I trust the supporters of this government to go and find interest rate somewhere in Africa that's 50%, and they will tell you Nigeria is doing well. But how long do you think Nigerians can go on with these economic policies of President Tinubu? And do you think the Nigerian people are on board with him, given how the president and the people around him are living?
Thank you. The gentleman from the World Bank spoke well, because that's what the World Bank exists to do. It would appear that mission was to fly a kite here, because to me it looks like the present government is listening and doing the part of what the Bretton Woods institutions are saying to government. But I know that Brazil and Argentina years back tried this model, and they were badly hurt. And even Argentina came to a point where he refused to pay back, told the World Bank to go to hell. It's just one model. And I think there are so many other models. We tried to apply this model when Babangida was head of state, when he was president. A structural adjustment policy. We had, all those policies, World Bank policies that were articulated. And I'm not sure the nation did well with it. I think the critical problem right now is that the way the country is, Nigeria can't get out of its problem without help from the World Bank and all its appendages. It just can't, because it doesn't have the means now. The industries are, exiting. The environment, the business environment is not hospitable to manufacturing and so on. And if you don't manufacture, if you don't produce, you continue to have this volatility in your currency, where people depend essentially on consumption rather than production. So you're going to have a problem where you get to a point where the only place where you can raise money is from these people who are willing to give you loans and whatever, at cutthroat policies. So I think this is part of the Nigerian conundrum. The government has found itself in such a quagmire that it's difficult to extricate itself from the economic problems that the country is facing, and they're looking at the World Bank to come and help them. But it depends on who is looking at it. I'm not an economist, but I think that that model is not one that we should be looking at now. We can look at other approaches. There are some African countries, small. They are small, but they are doing very, very well. And they have not. Some of them have rejected, going to the World Bank to take up loans. So, and I think that Nigeria needs to look elsewhere other than the World Bank, and because if you are saying that it's going to take 10 to 15 years for the economy to wake up again, then I don't know how many Nigerians will still be alive, at that time, going by what we are seeing now. So I want to say that the guy knows what he's talking about, and is flying a kite, and our leaders, will buy into it. The critical problem, if you want to address the Nigerian situation, is first of all to fight corruption. I talked about transparency, best practices, cut down size of government. There are leakages here and there. Look at your oil industry, upstream and downstream. There's so much to do there, that you can deal with, and enforce the law, strengthen your structures. You need a government a leadership that will actually go just beyond mouthing good governance and so on, but be strategic in its thinking, be visionary, and then start from itself by showing an example. Cut down the size of governance. There's a lot of money that you can save from there. Some ministries that we have, you don't really need them, apart from just creating job for the boys, So I think that, and then look at our consumption patterns. There are a lot of things that we consume that we don't really require. And then the things that we import that, we can, that are just mere luxury, that we can, if you go to Aba, for instance, OT is doing a good job. Now, you can stimulate a lot of entrepreneurship in that area, support, small and medium scale industries that are growing up there, because there's a lot of competencies that are there in the industry, in so many areas. You go to Newi and so on and so forth. As bad as the society is, that people who are engineers and doing great things. So the government has to invest in those areas that will boost production, that will help manufacturers, and then generate, particularly in the area, not just giving people rice and all those don't help any nation. So there are sectors. It's not even, there are sectors that the government has to, with the resources that it has. You look at the National Assembly, you cut down excesses that you have there. You look at state governments, let there be a meeting of minds, cut down excesses, local governments and so on. So if you don't discipline yourself internally, in your taste, if you don't have policies on the short run, on the medium term, focused on setting basic achievements and targets that you are aiming at, then you will lose your focus. So that's what I would say for now. The economy is in dire straits, but it needs strategic thinking, and it needs an approach that is homegrown, that is indigenous to us. That's the starting point. And then when the economy now begins to grow, then you have a means to pay for these loans and all those things that you're taking. Now you don't have it. And so over time, you're going to create a problem for the nation, for generations that are unborn to pay. Look at Obasanjo, this government, within a very short time, you look at how much they have borrowed, within a very, very short time. How are they going to pay for it?
All right. Thank you, Tony. Like you said, they've borrowed a lot of money. I don't have a problem with borrowing money. It's what you do with the money that makes the difference. The UK borrowed the biggest amount at the time from IMF in 1976. The amount they wanted to borrow was $3.9 billion, I believe. They ended up taking only half of it. And by 1979, they paid it back. They showed up their reserve. They did what they had to do with the money, and they paid it back. In Nigeria, when the money is borrowed and you see governors budgeting the sort of amount we've talked about on Touchlight and walkie-talkie.
Yes, if you borrow money, and instead of putting it on capital expenditure, you are putting it on recurrent expenditure. That's nonsense.
Exactly.
That's absolute nonsense.
Exactly.
You're taking loan to pay salaries. You're taking loan to buy cars. You're not investing in the real sectors of the economy that will boost and generate revenue for you to be able to pay back. So the pressure on the Naira will continue, because it's just a question of forces of supply and demand.
I totally agree with you. But you would have, the supporters of the government will still try to make you think you're the one who is crazy for challenging the way they spend recklessly. They would defend it at any opportunity. And as a moderator, I welcome all opinions, as long as you're not calling for war or whatever. So, if you support the government, it would be nice for you to come on and probably explain the things that we don't see. Maybe we live in an echo chamber where we don't see the things that the government, are doing. Maybe there's a WhatsApp group where they only tell APC members or supporters of President Tinubu's administration what they are doing, because the rest of us cannot see what is happening, how this is going to benefit. Now, if we continue like this for the next 15 years, are the supporters of this government telling us that genuinely they can, hand on chest to say it will be better off? Because remember, I'm not sure if you had friends like that. A lot of them I don't talk to as much these days. For the 8 years of Buhari, they told us that when Buhari is done, you'll be grateful he ruled Nigeria again. He's laying the foundations. These pains are the foundational pains. Whoever takes over would have a breeze. But Tinubu is coming and said he's inherited a dead economy. So whoever's supporting the government, would like to hear from you. Sensible, not name calling and all of that. Because if it's name calling, I grew up in Ibadan. They never born your father. Rich. There'll be no part two. I was born and I grew up in Ibadan. Hey, when an Ibadan man gets born again, their mouth doesn't get born again. Do you understand? So, So,
and sorry, Mr. Cho, I'm surprised that you mentioned Poland, because if you look at Poland, if you do a study of Poland today, I don't know why. I don't know what he was looking at when he mentioned Poland. It's not a model in Europe for anybody. So I'm surprised that he talked about Poland, as a model. I don't understand. Again, like I said, I'm not an economist, but from what I understand of the current situation of Poland, it's not something that you can use as an example.
Okay, yeah, I'll look into that. So Dan, you've heard what the other panelists have said regarding what the World Bank are recommending for us. They're saying that we should continue bear the pain. It's baby step of what did the man call it? It's the baby step of pain. It's the baby step of pain.
Pregnant banks.
Yeah, the Nigerians should endure.
Banks.
Yes. So they're saying that we should endure, things will get better. Do you see light at the end of the tunnel with the way the government, these economic policies? Do you think in the long run it will benefit Nigerians?
Sure. I'm surprised you directed that question to me.
I have to ask you.
Yeah, my name used to be Dan on this program. Suddenly it changed to Revolution. The reason why it changed to Revolution is because we know the problem. I like when our brothers who are more educated than myself are talking about the problems. I enjoy it. They tell us, like Mr. Tony was giving his submission now, he was telling us exactly how sweet it will be if Nigeria do this, do that, fine. It's good to have. It's like when you have a sickness, when doctor is diagnosing you and they tell you your problem, it's either they tell you something bad or something good. But immediately that they tell you that, oh, this is what you have, the next thing you ask that doctor is, can I be cured? You understand what I mean? And when the doctor say, oh, don't worry, in 2 weeks' time, you'll be cured. You already cured for that, for the doctor telling you that in 2 weeks' time, you go home. You already cured. But Nigerian situation, most of you who are very educated, who have read a lot of books, who knows the situation, every time you come here, you tell us if Nigeria can do the P2B, for example, they call him Mr. Statistics. He knows how to solve the problem. You understand me now? So if you ask me, is there any light in the tunnel? There's light in the tunnel, but we have the foundation for that light in the tunnel to shine, to become out. No, that's why we tell you the solution to Nigeria is revolution, so that we have the chance, because that revolution we are talking about, it's not just a revolution to destroy Nigeria. We have told you, I gave you an example about how the blacks in America boycotted the buses in those days so that they will destroy that seats, black sitting here, white sitting there. They boycotted those buses, and those people doing business with that buses, what did they do? They came down because they were not making their money anymore. And that was how that demarcation of the buses, black and white, disappeared today. So if you're telling me about Nigerian situation, my brother, Nigerian problem, I can tell you with my hand on my chest, Nigeria doesn't have a problem. The problem is the solution. How are we going to remove this system? Our problem in Nigeria is the system that is on the ground, state captured by criminals. And if we refuse to remove that system, all the solutions you people are giving will never come to light. That light in the tunnel you are talking about will never shine out. It will just be there in that tunnel. And you know, a light in the tunnel, you cannot see anything. You will just be following that light in the darkness. There must be a revolution in that country to lay that foundation for all these beautiful solutions you people come here to give every day. And if we refuse to fight that system, true revolution. I've told you it might not be a violent revolution. It can be just a sit at home, or, you know, sit at home is the best option. Then let them govern themselves. They will collapse. When the people living in the big offices, the cleaner doesn't come to clean your office so that you can enter and sit there comfortable. There's nobody serving you coffee, nobody giving you your drivers, everybody sit at home. They will now start thinking, oh, brother, these people, they don't attack us, but we don't have services again. The big man services is gone. So for me, there's a light in the tunnel, but with the same system that we have today, that light will never shine out. It will just be a talk and talk and talk and talk, and some people will say, oh, the solution is to divide the country. How can you divide the country? The people who holding the country now, they will never agree for you to divide the country, because when you divide the country, they don't have anything more. So they will never agree. So to end up, the last thing I want to say before I tell you people good night, because my job time is around the corner, I have to go, is let us think about this solution that we are giving you people. Showore camp and our camp, the Rastaman camp. There must be a revolution so that this system will be uprooted, so that all these beautiful solutions you people are giving every day can be implemented. Thank you, and have a good week.
Let me ask Revolution something.
No,
Revolution,
one second. Just 1 second before you ask him, and I think he needs to go. Before you go, Dan, good news. Talking of revolution, Dr. Damages is back tomorrow on 90 Minutes Africa, and Omoyele Sowore is going to be our guest tomorrow. So we can have Dan Revolution on one side alongside Omorui. You know, Omorui will turn up tomorrow, and we will have Pansat on the other side, who doesn't want to hear anything to do with Sowore. So tomorrow, you know, we're inviting everyone. Let the people know Sowore is going to be in town tomorrow, and Dr. Damages will be interviewing him, and you get to ask all your questions.
This is a very beautiful
news, guys. Please, if it's possible, post it on your own private, your
WhatsApp,
social media.
Share it with
I
people.
will have a lot of more diverse views.
Bring all your questions to Mr. Revolution now. All right, man of prestige, ask him the question.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to ask that Revolution. I just want to ask you.
You don't have to answer it. The Revolution, you can leave and ask the question.
You have been an advocate of revolution. Remember, there are two types of revolution. So, what kind of revolution are you advocating for? If you don't mind telling, so we will know your perspective.
My revolution is to uproot this system, the system that is blocking the whole good things we want to make in that Nigeria. It can be a sit-at-home revolution. It can be a violent one too if they don't really want to listen. That's it. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you. All right. So, man of prestige.
If you don't mind, if I can say something. Yeah, more. You understand? What the Rastaman is saying is that the Rastamen don't want they don't want violence, but they want the idea, revolution of ideas. Let the leadership change. Let there be more ideas. More free flow, freedom for the ordinary man to make a decision and let that decision stand. That's what. Look, Nigeria is not difficult to govern, but we make it so difficult. Thank you, Mr. Revolution. I like your dread. Just like this, your new style of cap.
It's gone.
Maybe we have to consider it next time. Thank you. I wait for my turn.
Yeah. So, man of prestige, I'll come to you. Have I come to you on this World Bank issue?
No. I should be speaking.
Okay, so World Bank, they've given us their suggestion. Do you know of any country that have borrowed and taxed their citizens out of poverty?
I've known of a lot of countries, particularly where I am right now in America. We have borrowed, a lot, but it's what we use the money that we borrowed for. What is going to be the utilization of that money, and how does it benefit the country? But in terms of tax, no. That question is no. That part of taxing your way out of poverty.
So do you know that Enugu states? Do you know that Enugu state are beginning to tax dead body? So dead bodies in the mortuary in Enugu states, they will pay for, apart from the whatever they pay, they will now be paying 40 naira every day tax on dead body in Enugu state.
The Nigerian tax system, the way they are going right now.
It's also proposing that if you make more than 1.5 million naira a month, that you should be taxed 25%. So these are the sort of things that would come on board. And you remember that statement, let's widen the tax net, including myself, Oyebola Tinubu, let everybody pay more taxes. So how do you see, do you have a problem paying tax to Nigeria, or is it what they're going to do with the money that's the problem?
I think it's both. Do I have a problem paying tax in Nigeria? I mean, there should be different kind of bracket of paying tax. You know, from what I understand, the rich in Nigeria doesn't even pay tax, which is applicable, you know, in America. You know, there should be a way to have a tax bracket where the lower people pay a very small amount. You know, try to, you know, usher the rich people, you know, the middle. I don't know how many rich people we have in Nigeria, 1% or less than 1%. The middle class pay their own tax bracket. Yeah, no, I don't have any problem paying tax. I mean, where I'm living, we're probably the most taxed, you know, the most taxed state in the country, you know. But you know, we make good money here, so we don't mind taxing, you know. And what we, you know,
You've not
what
sent
we
super
use,
chat, too.
huh?
You've not sent super chats today.
Oh, I didn't say I make good money. I say we make good money here. So I'm making a general California. But anyway, because it's a very expensive state. So everybody here know, you know, KJ is laughing. He knows about what I'm talking about. That doesn't mean that I'm rich when I'm living here, but we are surviving. So going to the topic, you know, I don't think how we can get ourselves out of this, you know. There's no light at the end of the tunnel right now. And I don't see any kind of, you know, where there's going to be light. So in reference to what that World Bank person was saying, and I believe we are being hostage. That's where, you know, that's where everything is coming about. I mean, we have to abide by what they say, all those money they're borrowing. I mean, America borrowed a lot of money. Look at what happened during the Obama time, you know. I mean, we borrowed a lot of money in order to bail out all those GM, all those auto in industry and everything. And look where we are right now during the second part of Obama, you know, during the second part of Obama regime. I mean, the country prosper, you know, very greatly. And that's what you know Trump inherited, you know, keep on bragging. You know, I didn't mean to be, but I'm trying to make a point. You know, so Obama did good in the second, you know, in the second half of, you know, of the government. He borrowed a lot of money, more than any president ever did. But what you know, what's the outcome? People will see the fruit of what, you know, the money that he's borrowed. You know, it's been happening in the country. That's where we are. That's where we are right now. So we can't borrow ourselves out of what, you know, we are definitely being hosted. If you're going to borrow money or this subsidiary, you know, they remove, where is the money going? I read something the other day that baffled me. I know our education is in shambles to begin with. Do you know we don't have any university in Nigeria that rank among the 800? The only one that came 801 was Covenant University in the whole world. A lot of African countries, South Africa, you know, Ghana, you know, they have university ranked within the 500, 600, 700. But Nigeria has just one that ranked 801. I think they use the benchmark of 800. They say Nigeria
800 to 1,000. They just put them together.
Right. So only one Covenant. Then you have some other rank about 100.
And I think even Covenant are number 16 in Africa also.
Okay, number 16 in Africa. But in the world, they are 801. So I'm just saying, I'm just giving that as a, you know, as an example where we find ourselves. What are they using all this money for? Nothing. I think they're just using this money.
I've told you some of the things they're using it for: torchlight, walkie-talkie, you know, gate of heaven in Ondo State. These are the things I've told you what they're using it for. They don't hide it. It's in the budget.
I know. I mean, it's good to laugh about it. We need to have fun, not, you know, not coming here, you know, because they're not listening to us. I mean, it's good for us to come here, you know.
Don't worry.
We complain all the time. We have to complain because they're not listening. You know, we can give them advice in our expertise, depending on our expertise, what, you know, what they do. They're not going to. And you can't go to that country and say, you know, you're going to, you know, pronounce your idea. You know, they're going to kill you, or, you know, find any means to eliminate you. They're not listening. I mean, they're just governing based on their own benefit. In the final analysis, all this World Bank prescription they're doing, they say in the next 1500, Nigeria will be in a better place. When it comes to 15 years again, they say you need more time. That is exactly, we are being hosted. That's the bottom line. They want you to borrow for your own period. That's where we find ourselves. But you know, what we have in government, they're gonna borrow. So that's why I see it, man.
All right. Thank you. KJ, let me come to you quickly. So the World Bank have said that we're on the right track. However, Naira is one of the bottom 3 currencies in Africa right now, alongside I think South Sudan and Ethiopian currency, as the worst 3 currencies in Africa. The same, I mean, one of their friends, Goldman Sachs, said to us in April that Naira was the best performing currency in the whole world, not even Africa. April, a few months ago. And all of a sudden, that same currency is the worst performing in Africa, which tells you probably one of the worst performing in the world. So, is it sensible that we're still taking advice from the World Bank? Or are you looking at it from the angle of how can we not take advice for them if we are owing them so much? You know, how do you untangle this?
Okay, thank you so much, Sho, and thank you for giving me opportunity to speak. I greet you, Mr. James, Tony, my dear friend, man of prestige, even though he's on the other side of the aisle. It's not a problem. You know, we had dinner 2 days ago and we all took a bite at each other. I think that was what makes American politics totally different. I wish that Nigeria will learn some of those. CM, you're welcome. Yes, I want to start from this point. You said earlier that is there any light in the end of at the end of the tunnel? Is there light in Nigeria in the first place before there be light in the tunnel? You're asking for light in a country where there's no light. How can you get into the tunnel? Eh? It's not possible. There's no light anywhere in Nigeria. It is total darkness. I'm telling you the truth, my brother. Let's call a spade a spade. We seem to be behaving like those who criticize Africa. You usually say it's a shithole country. It's a black zoo. It's a zoo. It's a place where people don't because we have refused to look. Yesterday, I was talking with a colleague who doesn't know anything about Africa. Was telling me how great, things are turning out in America and the rest. And I said to him, "Sorry, you know where the first university was in the world? What was the first university?" He said, "It got to be one of these great universities. It was Yale or so." I said, "My friend, you are an Ethiopian. You don't even know that the first university was from your country in the world. The people came to Africa to study the Pythagorean theory, what they are using now, and what they are doing now." And I started calling the names of people who came to Africa to study. And today, that same people now call us the people who are uneducated and who don't know anything because they've chosen the worst of us. They've chosen the worst of us, and then they've decided to put those worst of us in place of authority and not allow the brains behind our country, our people, to come to the fore. I tell you the truth. The reason why that policy is being pushed is to continuously make sure that in the next 100 years, they will still have open access to our resources. Because as long as people like Tinubu is in government, you don't have to worry yourself. Do you need to even go anywhere to know what Nigeria is discussing? You are buying Toyota, okay? What's the other one? Cadillacs, okay? Who knows what they put in it to hear your conversations? So what is the thing that we are showing that the government is showing now to show that we have talented young men who have come to America and other parts of the world, and they're working in the highest points, in the world. CM can bear me witness. There are more than 1,000 professors in Nigeria who come to the developed world as what? As visiting professors. And they pay them highly. And some of them, I have a friend, I'm not quoting from somewhere I don't know. Okay? There's nowhere in Europe and America has not gone, they've not invited him. Because an expert in communication. And they call him. Those people who you call to tap from their brain, how come those brains don't work in their country? That's why when you want to appoint the Minister of Communication, you go and pick somebody who does not know A from left. I can put it on this platform. When Akunyele was, minister, we gave a presentation when they wanted to say they want to upgrade NTA. And just give me an example of what happens in Nigeria. They want to upgrade NTA to become like CNN, and they budgeted a lot of money. We went to make a presentation, say, look, there's no way you can upgrade a analog station to a digital platform. It's like saying you want to make your Volkswagen into a trailer. It doesn't happen. So all you need to do is to discard this one, and this is this and this and this is what we're going to do. And after the presentation, which was well applauded, we left, as professionals. What else are you going to do? You have given your own opinion. But the next thing we heard was they brought some Chinese guys who say, oh, this is possible. We can do this. And that's why if you notice early days of NTA, When they put the picture, it look as if they are stretched. They're like monkeys, because they went there and tried to upgrade what cannot be upgraded. What they will not do in their country. People who brought them in benefited. They themselves benefited. The problem is still there with us. Now, that is the sad story of Nigeria. We don't agree with our own people who have come to a point of expertise in those areas. When they come and do their presentation, they look at them and say, maybe this guy when they behind my back, which kind of car they drive? That is what they are concerned about. Did you come with embroidered agbada that cost 500,000 for the embroidered? If you didn't come with it, then who are you? What is the shoe he came with? It's not Italian crocodile leather. He came with a. I'm telling you what, because I have been in the system, so I tell you how they grade people.
All right.
Okay. So coming to your question, it's not. Look, they are only giving this advice because it will benefit them. They will continue to get resources, raw materials from our country, and they will continue to tap into that thing which they call the green card syndrome, which is that lottery. The best of you are selected. Look, it's not new. This system they're using was done in the Bible first. The king of Babylon, when he conquered the Jews, Jerusalem, he selected the best people, the strongest, the tallest, all those people, the scientists, all. He took them out of that nation into Babylon. And so God was so angry because he knew what this guy had done. All right. And for that reason, he punished that nation. It's exactly what's going on in Africa. They pick the best of us, they bring them here, and they say, hey, nothing's happening down there. Sorry, I've been a bit emotional, but this is because it's a thing that have constantly permeated our society, and it's not about to change because our leaders are still going to Chatham House. They are still looking for approval from those outside of their nation. Okay, somebody said in America, America first. That should be the policy of every country. Your people first. When you get to negotiation table, what you should be asking for, what is in it for Nigerians? Not what is in it for you or your family. Your son is distributing bags of rice for Nigerians. Is it supposed to be a philanthropist distributing food for Nigerians? There's a video, if you want me, I can send to you. A Oibo man sharing bread in Lagos. Bread. Okay, and see the long line, giving people one loaf of bread. That is where we have come. I'll stop there, sir. Sorry.
Thank you, Cajun. Thank you. Yes, I could tell that was quite emotional. You said if you go there in Agbada and they say, who are you? Tell them I'm a chosen. Say it 3 times. They will listen to you. So CM, welcome to the show. Let me put this on the screen again, and I want you to read that. I'll read it out as well. So the same World Bank that are saying that we're on the right track are saying 129 million Nigerians now poor as 14 million more citizens fall into poverty in the last 1 year under Tinubu. That's the World Bank. But they're the same people saying that Tinubu is doing the right thing, it should carry on. So you start to wonder, is that not an oxymoron? You're saying that 14 million people in the last 1 year have become poorer, but you're saying the president is doing well, he should carry on. Before you speak on it, CM, do you think it's high time we went back to statistics? Because you remember, we were told now statistics will go chop, but the World Bank are coming with statistics and we are listening to them. And also, in terms of Shettima going away, because you just joined us, Shettima went away to say we're ready for business. If there's no electricity, can there be industrialization? Over to you, CM.
Jesus Christ. Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, show. Good evening, all of you.
Good evening.
All protocols duly observed. Well, there's something I heard you say, but let me quickly clear it, then I return to your question. This Enugu state taxing a dead body or something. What happened was, before this coming of this governor, what I was told, and it's reliable, when you take your dead body or so, somebody to the mortuary, they will tell you it's full. From January 1st to December 31st, it's full. Any time of the day, you say it's full. You will say, what do I do? You say, let's see if we can see space. Then they charge you 50, 60, any amount of 30,000. Then you start to negotiate. Eventually, you give them the money. So they're using it for their business. So the governor now found out and then decide to sort of make it mandatory that you will know it is so you are free to keep your dead body for 1 year, but it's 40 naira or something like that every night or something. So that's why he did it, so that the money will get into government purse. So that's why he's doing it. Ordinarily, there shouldn't have been need, but you will be there, and those that have been will tell you, is that not your father's corpse? Hey, put it here now, go and prepare. Or guy, it will cost you 150,000. You will say, what? He said, no space, you just that because we see, say, you did know Nigeria now, you go begin negotiate. So that's why I heard that he did it. Now, on the question you asked,
Thank you for
me,
clarifying that.
yes,
CM.
thank you. On the question you asked, you see, to be honest with you, let me quickly paraphrase what Bill Clinton said on 20th January 1993, the day he was inaugurated. He said, there's nothing wrong with America that cannot be righted with what is right about America. If I'm to paraphrase, I say there is nothing wrong with Nigeria that cannot be corrected with what is right about Nigeria. Now, the question is, what is right about Nigeria? Talent. That's all. Talent, the weather, and natural gift God gave us. That's all. We can use it to do. Nigeria has abundant talent. We know this. But to be honest with you, it's a shame that in the year 2024, Nigeria is still looking up to World Bank or IMF to tell us that we are suffering or what to do. It's a shame. That's why I say, given all the talent we have, yes, it's true. I mean, it's a shame now. Given all the talent, we are still waiting for World Bank to tell us that this thing you are doing, you are not on the right. Okay, you're on the right track. Keep doing. It's all like this. It's a terrible shame, to be honest with you. So the thing about Nigeria is this: we know we are in a complete mess. That is absolute mess. We know. What matters, what happens is because people tend to fix Nigerian problem. If they want to fix Nigerian problem, they start to talk of all those big. We know you can go big, but let us concentrate, even if it take us 2 years, or let us concentrate on doing those basic. That's a bread and butter issue. Do you know that Ghana? In fact, I listened to. Let's take an election to elect a leader. Where go even fix the thing? I listened to one senator from Rivers State, Senator Lee Meba. He's an Ogoni man, but he used to be a senator. You know what he said? Maybe Jonathan gave him the opportunity. He said he has monitored the election in Africa. Imagine a Nigerian senator say he has monitored the election. Say he's been to Botswana, he's been to South Africa, he's been to Kenya, he's been to Tanzania. Then he was in Ghana. He said what shocked him about Ghanaian election was Ghana, they put their election even on a weekday, on a Wednesday. That is to tell you that they've matured. On a Wednesday, in which the banks are open, the offices are open, everything, just like a typical Wednesday in Nigeria, things are moving. Then you go and vote. The way they do it in UK, Thursday, you leave your office, you go and vote. If you want, on your way to work, you vote, or during your break time, you go and vote. So for Ghana to be doing an election on Wednesday, it means they've gone, they are not, it's like America going to the moon. So the man was shocked. In Nigeria, it must be on a Saturday. No primary school, restricted movement of people. They were announced, if you don't have need to go to market, stay at home. If you will restrict, before you know that your street, army done the 1 battalion, 35,000. Is that not what happened in Edo State? They are moving 35,000 police in Edo State. Army will be there. Yet, police will be there. They are exchanging money to buy vote. So that is to tell you the rot we have. We are just these things. So when I look at all this, all the solution, all the other things, I shake my head. To be honest with you, if it's possible, the revolution Nigeria is calling for all this. Showore call for, thank God she will be here tomorrow. Showore call for revolution. How many people turned out? Yet, suffering has united Nigerians. The revolution I will like is that we shake Nigeria, or that we make the people survive, is why the you are If the people doing the revolution, say in Akure, and the one doing it in Soka like Bauchi, do it in the tension that you want to be on your own. All this idea, we can never come together to fix Nigeria. It's not possible. We know it. It's not. It can never happen. Revolution, who will come out? How many people for the whole Nigeria? Revolution I want is, if we can start dialogue on post-Nigeria republics, let us, if we are doing the revolution with the intention that you want to chicken out of Nigeria. There's nothing sacrosanct. 15 years to suffer, that's what they are telling us. If that 50, okay, let's just say the 15 years is that petrol will be 1,000, say 200 naira for the next 15 years. Can you guarantee that? Can you? It's impossible. You cannot. For 15 years, World Bank is recommending for you. By that time, how many people will be alive? Say you stay the course. It's not possible. It can never work. Nigeria is unworkable. We are seeing it. It can't. It cannot work. The so-called crude oil that Nigeria is making out, Buhari used it as collateral to borrow those fictitious loan he was taking. Only that Nigeria, see, sometimes this thing called economics is a simple subject. Only requires common sense. If you want to go and borrow money from a bank, the first thing they ask you, where's your collateral? Collateral means what are they going to hold so that if you do not repay, they will sell that thing to recover their money. In other words, the value of whatever collateral you are giving them must be higher than the amount of money they are loaning you. So the only way Buhari will go to World Bank, I need loan, they give him. Is because of oil and gas. Today they are drilling oil and gas in Nigeria, but the money is not entering into Nigerian ports because it has been traded off. They've used some of it to build rail to Niger Republic, no return. So this is exactly the situation with Nigeria. Yes, there is oil and gas, but it's no longer in our hands. It's like a man that got up. They say, all this land you see are your father's land too. But you can't cultivate them. Why? Your father used it to borrow money maybe 20, 30 years ago. That is the thing. Our crude oil is being taken because that is the collateral, and that is what Tinubu is doing. Can we ask ourselves, why is it that whenever we go to borrow money, they give us? Do you think they just love Nigeria? Oh, yeah, take your money. It's not. It's simple sense because we tender our crude oil, our gas as collateral. So Oyibo is just taking the thing. And you trust now. You are not there when they are taking it. Now they know how many years. So Nigeria, the only way possible is let us do it and start thinking of how to be different countries of our own. People are afraid. Namibia, 2 point something million. Is it not better than Nigeria 1 million times? Botswana, 2.7 million. Is it not better than Nigeria 2 million times? So when people talk about this, Nigeria, we'll be here next year. We've been here since last year talking the same thing. Nigeria is not going to get better. The thing that even unite Nigeria, which is the so-called oil, we don't take and borrow money. Before it wasn't like that. It used to be when you sell, you get the money. Now no more. If you ask them how much,
yes, we found more crude oil. So Chevron Nigeria found they discovered another oil block that will produce 17,000 barrels a day. So there's a lot of oil to borrow money. Don't worry.
But Abacha sends money from grave. Once in a while, Abacha loot will arrive. Where is it? So you see, these are some, when you look at it, that's why to me, I'm being objective. I don't like to fool myself. There is no basis. Tell me. I want somebody to convince me how Nigeria will be good. Tell me. Because somebody will say, we need a good leader. How will a good leader come? I won't just look at show, come and be a good leader. No. You have to go through INEC. You know what INEC is now. You know, I believe we know it. It can never work. So that's why I say the basic thing that every country needs to elect who you know is your best. It's not possible. Singapore did it because they saw Lee Kuan Yew. He's good. They elected him and the man delivered. Ogun State is like 4 times the size of Singapore. Ogun State is about 16,000 something square kilometer. Then Singapore is about 700 and something. So it's about, I don't know, more than 4 times the size of Singapore. But look at Singapore today. No resources. Just because you're on the coast, they build the best seaport, largest. so that every country will be doing business with them, transporting, shipping, intra-shipping, bus stop here, you do. So there are things we can do. So when people look, and if you tell Nigerians now, I mean, if you're there in UN and you mention Singapore, they're not a pushover. But Nigeria, look at our population landmass, we are not. Nigeria can never walk. We know this. So what the earlier we start to sit down and tell each other the truth, say, look, after all, we are just an amalgam. When people bring it as amalgamation, it's an amalgam of a different distance by force. I once shared an article here. What Oyibo said in 1952 to 1959, that they were trying to put a country put together, just like you want to put a pepper soup together. I say, I want to put a country together. But they didn't know that they didn't have the opportunity of seeing Russia to guide them, or Yugoslavia. So they know that it won't work, but a lot of people will die. That is Biafran war. And then they will continue to die. He said it, I think I shared the article, maybe not here. So this is exactly what we are talking about. The alien Nigeria come together to, how can you be listening to IMF, World Bank telling you are suffering? We know where we are.
If you end up in a minute, please.
Thank you. In rounding up, I like to advise Nigerians, please, there is no shame in it. We've seen examples to look at. There are countries that are 2 to 3 million and they are doing well. Why must we continue to come too closely together and perish in collision? Why? Why? So we want to subject ourselves to 15 years again, suffering, when people are praying it go better. Now, the World Bank are telling you, even if you do what you are doing now, it will take you at least 15 years. How many of us we can guarantee 15 years from now will be alive to witness it? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, CM. Welcome to the show, Bob Chisco. I want to believe you've followed the conversation. So we're currently talking on what the IMF prescribed for Nigeria. They said that we're on the right track. We just need to stick at it for the next 15 years, and Nigeria will be a better place. So the current economic policies of Mr. Tinubu or President Tinubu, they think it's a good thing. But the Nigerians on ground are saying that they're suffering, that they can't breathe. They're saying they're being powered. They're saying all sorts of things. So, how do you look at these two opposites?
Thank you, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
All right. I see. The more you see things happen in Nigeria, the more you look, the less you see. Just as Dr. CM has summarized it, I see. I don't want to be someone who's a pessimist, but honestly speaking, I see no future. Permit me to use that word. I see no future as presently constituted Nigeria. Whatever the IMF boss is saying to me, whether he's saying the truth or not saying the truth, it is off the track, because the presidents, our leaders have said so far, have shown us that even beyond that 15 years, I wonder where we will be, So these people have completely bastardized the country. That tell an average Nigerian this question now, the person will tell you, I have no future in Nigeria. Everybody in Nigeria today want to japa. Everybody wants to japa. That people are remaining in Nigeria today is because they have nowhere with that. They have no one to sponsor them to leave Nigeria. Nigeria is completely gone. Look at the incident that happened in Jigawa. Both the president and the vice president are still outside. Which president does that? A sensible president, wherever you are, even if you are in a United Nations General Assembly and such a havoc happens in your country, they immediately cut short their visit and run back home. Our president said 2 weeks, and it's almost 18 days. 18 days from UK to France. And no insight when that man is coming back. President and vice out. And Onanuga comes out to tell us that the president can run the country anyhow. That the president can run the country from anywhere. That the country is on autopilot. Ababia is in charge. I put it out on my Facebook. I said, T-Pain no day house. Shettima no day house. Back in the days, these khaki boys, these khaki boys for don't strike. I mean, they no get live again. Yeah. But yeah. I was watching a clip. yesterday some group of Yoruba guys. Some people say it's Edo or Ibadan.
It's either Ibadan or Benin.
Yeah,
because
that clip.
So the reason why they said it is because of the color of the taxi. It's the same color, so people are not sure where that happened.
Yeah,
It's either Ibadan or Benin.
Bros, I was surprised. You see the morale. This guy is virtually blocked the military convoy, begging them on the top of their voices, please take over government. One military rule. I saw that. I was saying, wow.
It was in Ibadan.
Ibadan. Can you imagine, bros? Can you imagine? Okay, this morning, a clip is going viral now. A white man was busy sharing bread to a group of Nigerians in Ajao Estate. People lining up, receiving bread. What I was ashamed. I said, has it come to this level? Nigeria. You can imagine when this clip goes viral around the whole world. Africa, they say this is Nigeria. Nigerian people, hunger. People queuing up. A white man handing out loaves of bread to Nigerians to eat because of hunger.
Did he bring any religion with him this time, or is it just bread? No religion.
No, I don't want to attach anything to it. It's just a group of people, you know. Plus, the hunger has no religion. It has no tribal. It has no language. Peter Obi said it. Show me where APC is selling bread or fuel or whatever cheap. I will go down and buy. But you see, those words were prophetic. You see, it is virtually coming to bear. People are already suffering in Nigeria, and just as people have stated, revolution. One man, I was watching one man speaking on TV yesterday. Some people are just folding their arms watching. The man said, please, who did this thing to Nigerians? Did APC cast a spell upon Nigeria? Jonathan increased fuel from, I think, from 87 to 120 or 140, there about. Hell was let loose on Nigeria. The whole places were shut down. Ojota was covered. People berated Jonathan. A casket was designed in the name of Jonathan. A goat was painted and JEJ written on the body of that goat. Jonathan was bemoaned. He was dehumanized. But today, my brother, if they ask us to take that fuel even to 200, won't we be happy? But can you imagine that today, people are buying fuel, a liter of fuel, 1,500. Many people have parked their cars. People now resort to trekking or taking commercial vehicles. This is where we found ourselves. We don't know who will help us out of this mess. I don't want to say God, but it lies in the hands of Nigerians. As everybody keeps moping, well, we don't know where the help will come from. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bob Chisco. That will bring us to the end of this segment, this topic. But before we take a short break, I would like to announce again that Omoyele Sowore will be with us tomorrow. Dr. Damages will be interviewing Omoyele Sowore, the leader of the Take It Back movement, the presidential candidate of the AAC. So he'll be with us tomorrow. Please join us, 5:30 p.m. Nigerian time. I think that will be 12:30 New York time, and whatever time, do the conversions yourself. But Lagos will be 5:30, London 5:30, and New York will be 12:30. Also, I've said this a few times, from January next year, this particular show will no longer be on Dr. Damages. It will be on Iroko Post TV. So please subscribe to Iroko Post TV, because if you come here from next year, you won't find us here on a Saturday or Sunday. We will be on Iroko Post TV. So please go there and subscribe, and we'll see you there next year. Sorry, was anyone going to say something?
Yeah.
Yes, quickly.
Yeah, Doctor, just quickly, I just want to fly a kite here, something for us to chew as we ruminate on this topic that we just this discussion. In 1960, just looking at the records, in 1960, Nigeria produced 45% of the world's palm oil in 1960, in the 60s. Today, Nigeria loses $600 million annually to importation of palm oil. And a report from the U.S. Department of Agriculture says that as at 2023, 1 in every 4 liters of palm oil consumed in Nigeria is imported. So my question is, this same country that was able to achieve this feat is now importing so much. Doesn't it tell us that there is something basically wrong? That's one.
We know a lot of things are wrong. Everything is wrong.
Yes. And if we could do this, then why are we unable to achieve this now? Because if it worked in the early 60s, why is it not working now? I just wanted to throw that in.
All right, thank you. It's worth considering. Thank you. We'll take a short break and we'll be back.
Onye ọma zoro obi o, akwa nwa zoro obi o, Max ịbịa bunyegokwanụ m n'ofu ube n'azụ ụlaga n'ịbịazugo, mmanwụ ụlaga do n'ịbịazugo, akwa nwa nwa ilochi o, biko rapụ zoro ka ọ nabazi ya.
Onye ọma zoro biko, abọmma nwatara ndasari, ịbịa wunye n'egwana m ụlagado n'ịbịazigo, mma ụlagado n'ịbịazigo, abọmma nwa ilochilo, biko rapụ zoro ọ na-agbazi ya. Mazi welcome up. Odogu no kwere zinenka. Onyo mani gadele mo. Mazi ni mazi kama. Ibu go with melody. Odogu na chala noka, ezi nwanne m legadele mo. Olagado n'ibyazigo noe, mma olagado n'ibyazigo, amama mwilo chilo, bigora muzoro, anabazi. Say, onyama zoro ne. Sorry, if I were to go on a fool, Olaga, don't if you as a boy, Molaga, don't if you I'm a willow chilo, because Rapuzoro, Anavazi. A dog can never be kitchen for. Ama kwa mnika kugogia, waligwe kwelo ikejo mabele bege. Hey, you want?
All right, welcome back, everyone. I love that music. I don't know what they're saying, but I've read some translation about elephant and something. People have translated it, and the story is quite interesting. But I just love the music. I'm going to share a few videos. I'll touch on I'll touch on a few topics that are not probably worthy of full discussions. I'll just highlight a few things, and we'll discuss the last topic of the day before Forefather takes over in the next hour. But let me share a few videos with you.
The West has a plan to squeeze even more money out of Africa, and they're calling it Tax Collectors Without Borders. And so what they're doing is that they're training hundreds of thousands of tax collectors that aren't loyal to any one country in Africa, and they're providing those as resources so that the African governments can tax their own citizens more effectively. It's basically a 1-2 punch. The first thing that they did through the IMF and the World Bank was they got African countries in a lot of debt, and the cost of servicing that debt started to eat up almost all of the government revenue in many of the African countries. And the Western world came in and said, hey, what if we train tax collectors for you and offer all of our advanced analytical tools that we use to tax people in the Western world? And if you do these tax reforms that we propose, we'll give you even more loans so that you can do your big projects, or maybe you can get that chalet in Switzerland. But unlike the Western world where the tax money might actually find itself circulating in the economy, because they set up these African nations in a lot of debt, the money that they collect from this increased tax revenue is just going to get shot out into the Western world, which is something that even the colonialists of the 1700s couldn't have dreamed would happen. So is there anything that can be done about this? My recommendation is, if you're an African leader, even though it's hard, hit block on the World Bank, hit block on the IMF, and just don't do business with these people in the future. So I'm not trying to be negative. I'm a big believer in Africa, but I certainly want to call out a scheme when I see one. So hopefully if this is of value to you, you'll give me a like and a follow. That really helps out my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.
Okay, we're not going to discuss it because we've already discussed it. I saw another video which just, I know it's not the same level, but I just thought, in terms of sharing, caring for one another, when you look at African leaders or African rulers, and the relationship they have with the people they are meant to look out for. I saw this video and I thought, let me share it. Some people will get it, some people will think it's very cheesy and doesn't make sense, but hey.
But a smile, and it seems to me reminds me of childhood memories when everything was as fresh as bright blue sky. Now and then when I see her face, it takes me away to that special place. And if I stare too long, I'll probably break down and cry. Whoa, sweet child of mine. Whoa, sweet love of mine.
If the world was so simple like that, we care for the next person, we're willing to share. It's not just about me, how much can I get, how much can I take? But Nigerian, politicians will log out at that point and be like, oh, they're children, they don't understand. You have to take everything for yourself. Right, welcome, Flagship. Good to see you on the show. So the last topic of the day, but before I go to that, a few more things I want to share. The Minister for Agriculture said something to Nigerians. Today makes it 101 days since he promised us that the food prices in Nigeria would crash. And I'm one of the people who are tracking it. I've set a reminder, and on the day I would get a reminder. This is what he said. In 180 days, food will crash. Food prices will crash in Nigeria. And today makes it 101 days since he said it. So he's got 79 days. The clock is ticking. I don't want him to fail, because if that actually happens, it benefits me, it benefits all of us, it benefits everyone who's a Nigerian. So I actually look forward to the next 79 days when the food would crash, or at least or around that time. One thing else I'm going to share before we go to the last topic is, most of you might have seen this, what looks like a receipt, dated 25th May 1977. And addressed to First African Baptist Shaki, that's in Oyo State, 1,080 naira only. Payment for a Peugeot 504 salon car, 1,080 naira. That does not buy you a liter of petrol today. But hey, let's keep uploading our leaders. You can't challenge them, you can't question them. I keep telling people, the fact that I don't like the government of the day does not mean I don't like Nigeria. They're two different things. I like Nigeria, but I don't like the people governing Nigeria. I don't hide it. I don't like them. I don't have to. But the last topic of the day, we'll be talking about Yoruba Nation. The agitators, wanting to, KJ, the Yoruba Nation are asking to leave Nigeria, and they've come to the UK, 10 Downing Street, to ask. So don't play Afrobeat before they cancel this our video for copyright. So they've come to the UK to ask the Prime Minister to support or to grant the Yoruba Nation. I don't know what it is, but they submitted the letter. I'm not sure what the outcome is. I would go and read up on it. But they're saying that they don't want to be part of Nigeria. It's not working for us. Let us go. So this is a picture of Chief Sunday Igboho at 10 Downing Street submitting the letter, asking that, I think on behalf of the leader, Professor Banji Akintoye, saying that we've had enough and we want to leave. We're not doing anymore. Let us go. I have 1 or 2 videos to support that.
Under our father and leader, Professor Emeritus Adebanji Stephen Akintoye, JCYL, Grand Commander of the Order of Yoruba Land. May your days be long. Amen. On earth given to you as heritage by your ancestors, sir. After this, a submission, and I present to you today this flag. Hip, hip, hip. Hooray! Hip, hip, hip. Hooray! Hip, hip, hip.
Just 1 minute and we move.
Ẹ ṣe sùúrù ẹjọ́ sílé ìsọ̀rọ̀ tán.
Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run. Mo dẹ̀ appreciate gbogbo àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá káàkiri àgbáyé. Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kí àjọ délẹ̀ ìlérí.
Má ṣe Èdùmàrè.
Ọlọ́run ò ní jẹ́ kí gbogbo wa ṣubú.
Má ṣe Èdùmàrè.
A ní pé adẹ̀dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ bàbá wa Banji Akintoye, wọ́n jẹ́ lídà wa. Pàápàá jùlọ gbogbo àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá káàkiri ayé. Ẹ rí i pé ní ìlú Nàìjíríà Yorùbá ti ń bẹ ń bẹ nìkan over 18 million.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni o.
Ó lójú kọ́ńtì tó tó 80 million tó tó 2 million gan. Because tẹ́ bá rí i pé ní Áfíríkà gan àwọn kọ́ńtì mi ń bẹ, for example ìlú Togo wọ́n dà pé 6 million àbí nǹkan ni wọ́n.
Yes.
So mo wá rí i pé àwa Yorùbá gan a tó dá dúró.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
So fún di èyí mo fẹ́ kí gbogbo àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá káàkiri àgbáyé ẹ jẹ́ ká fi ọ̀tẹ̀ lẹ̀, ká fi ìyà lẹ̀, ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀, ká kúrò lóko ẹrú kí àwọn British kan tó so wá papọ̀ làwa ti ń jẹ́ Yorùbá.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni,
àdẹ papọ̀ àjọra wa.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Àwa Yorùbá amọba ṣe ń ṣe àṣà àti ìṣe tiwa tí ò papọ̀, èdè wa ò papọ̀, àní nǹkan kan tó pa.
Yoruba Nation. Yoruba Nation. Now. No going back. It's a scam. It's a scam. It's a scam. It's a scam. Now. Back. No going back. No going back. No going back. Yoruba Nation. Yoruba Nation. Now.
All right, so you've all seen that was Chief Sunday Igboho and the supporters of the Yoruba Nation in London a few days ago, where they submitted a petition to the British Prime Minister asking for his support that, we want to break away from Nigeria. So one of the things Chief Sunday Igboho said in the first clip I played is that Yorubas across the world, we're about 80 million of us. And he said, there are countries in Africa that are 2 million. He mentioned Togo. He said there are about 6 million. And he also said about, preservation of our culture, that, being in Nigeria erodes on our culture. We're going to lose our culture being in Nigeria and all of that. We know how we govern ourselves before the amalgamation and things like that. And it makes you, ask the question. A lot of questions on my mind. Mr. James, I'll come to you with this question because I know it's the, I think you're the best person to speak on it. Why do you think they went to the UK to ask to be let go?
You see, it's a laughable matter. These are a bunch of unserious Yorubas. I least expect a Yoruba man to do what these people have done. I least expect them. Probably this is the outcome of removing history from the school curriculum in Nigeria. These are the same people who sold you and me into slavery for 400 solid years. When they got tired of using slave labor because of the Industrial Revolution, they shipped all the slaves out of the UK to Sierra Leone, Freetown, because they were of no use to them anymore. They forgot their past. Now, after shipping them to Sierra Leone, they decided to bring their own government here to govern the people, because they were not governing us when they took the slaves away. They brought their own people here to establish their own government. They now abolish slave trade. They call it illegitimate trade, a trade that has been legitimate for 400 years. Then after that, they now brought what they call legitimate trade. Cocoa, rubber, palm oil, and mineral resources is now legitimate trade for another 200 solid years, from 1807, when slave trade was abolished officially, up till 1960. Now, these are the same people, these so-called Yoruba men and women, are going back to that they want their independence. Of what use is the independence they granted us in 1960? So you see the funny situation we are in. I was mentioning some time ago something about the quality of education we receive in Nigeria these days. Somewhere, I can't remember, I got information that to destroy a nation, you don't need ballistic missiles. You don't need reconnaissance planes to destroy a nation. All you need to do is attack the educational system. They've attacked the Nigerian educational system steadily to the extent that a set of people who are supposed to be the most educated in Nigeria are now behaving irresponsibly on an international arena. You went to Chatham House before the 2023 election. You see the outcome of going to Chatham House. You don't like the outcome, and you are going back to the same Chatham House that they should give you independence. What is the guarantee that if you give you a Yoruba nation, you will behave responsibly? You see, these are the reasons why we should be thinking of post-Nigerian republics. Those who wish to enslave themselves can enslave themselves. Those who wish to be progressive can be progressive. So this is how, I'm looking at the whole show.
All right.
Did they consult Wole Soyinka before going? I do not know. Their leader is a professor, university professor, probably of history. So what has he been professing since he was made a professor of history? You see the predicament the black man is grappling with. These are people, men and women, other African countries are looking up to come to their rescue. They are giving themselves away to the white man. We still have so many rivers to cross. If we will ever see the promised land, let alone entering, even to see it, the way Moses stood on Mount Nebo and saw Israel without entering, if we will be like Moses, just to see the promised land, not even to enter, I am terribly in doubt. So thank you so much. Let me stop.
All right. Thank you, Mr. James. So, Tony, what I'm going to ask is, do you think the agitators for Yoruba Nation, do you think they deserve some credit, given the fact that one of their own, Tinubu, President Tinubu, is a Yoruba man, and despite having, a president from the Southwest extraction in Aso Rock, they're still going ahead asking for Yoruba Nation?
Well, I think you want to ask what impact has the Tinubu administration made on the lives of the people of the Southwest. Because they are also going through the problems that the nation, the challenges, they're facing the challenges that the nation is going through. So But the demand for Odua Republic, predates Tinubu's coming as president. It was there before Tinubu came, so it wasn't. It's not as if it was Tinubu that brought it. Also, I don't see anything wrong in people agitating for self-determination. I don't see anything wrong in that. It's internationally recognized by the Charter of the United Nations. So, but I don't understand why they have to go to the UK to demand for whatever they were asking for. But I would think critical question to ask is, are these people representing the entire Yoruba nation? Are they? Because I know that there are some Yorubas who are not quite in tune with that demand for secession. Just as there are people who are not buying into the demand by the Southeast to secede from Nigeria. So if you ask me, I don't know why, and I don't think that the Bola Tinubu presidency, would have any impact, because the issue is not that they want their own president. The issue is just that the nation is not working for them, and I think that's the fact that almost everybody can agree on. That Nigeria today is not working, and therefore, in their own view, they think that the best option. Some of them think that the best option is to seek for a separate state of their own, that perhaps would include Nigerians, Yoruba-speaking people from Nigeria and outside the country as well. But how that will address their problem, whatever is the motive for the demand, how that will address that problem is another question, because there is no guarantee that if you succeed, you do better. Because we have examples of nations that have succeeded. Have broken down. Yugoslavia, Czechoslovakia, South Sudan from Sudan, Eritrea from Ethiopia, and so on and so forth. And see the breakdown of the United former Soviet Union, and so on. You can go on and on. And the more things change, the more they remain the same. So I don't know. I don't know the logic. I don't know, but I concede the fact that they have the right to say, well, this Nigeria is not working for us. We want to go.
All right.
But, yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I'll just go in the order that we've got half an hour before we round up the show. So CM, Yoruba Nation. I know Professor Banji Akintoye is someone that you I wouldn't say follow, but at least you respect. So what have you got to say about their trip to the United Kingdom?
Well, the thing is, insofar as the people doing it reflects at least a greater percentage of Yoruba people, I support them. They know what. In fact, I listened to an interview this morning by Shego Degbami's I think Wasimi radio station or something. Shego Degbami and Banji Akintoye. Akintoye was even against regionalism. He said they can't work. He said they want out. They were asking Banji Akintoye, say you used to be the person Awolowo sends all over Korea, Brazil as a professor to go and be gathering facts. You and the Professor Sam Aluko in the early 70s when he was Federal Commissioner for Finance. You gave him get him data all over the world. In fact, they mentioned Singapore. He mentioned Singapore as the country he went to, Korea, then Brazil, all those things. They asked him, said, since you know Awolowo that well, if Awolowo is alive and Nigeria is like this, what do you think he will do? Is Awolowo will just do what he's doing, self-determination that Yoruba should get out of Nigeria? So that makes me, I take the man serious. But one thing I want to say is generally, in Nigeria, that is the hypocrisy I want to underline. Oh no, self-determination is your right. It's enshrined in United. Yes, self-determination is your right. What is self-determination? You want your own country. Now, if you now want to put it in practice, they say, hey, if you go na the same suffering, it should be na wanna go suffer. Wow, what are you talking about? What nonsense are we talking about? People will always tell you, Yugoslavia, 7-5 countries. Look at where Croatia is. Are they regretting it? Russia, 15 countries. How many times have they come back to say, oh, we regret, we want to come back again? Eritrea left Ethiopia. So what? Is Eritrea not better than Nigeria? Life in Eritrea is it not better than Nigeria? You see, that's why sometimes when the way Nigeria, and that's why we are in a complete mess. So let me not digress so much. What Yorubas are doing, I'm in support insofar as they feel that it will address their needs, and that is the option left for them. Nigeria is a pressure cooker, for God's sake. We all know that with good leader, things will change. How can we now get that good leader? Through INEC. Is that not? We will make a law, we will bungle it. 400 billion naira to conduct the election last year, plus 40 million euro given to us by EU. Everything was working until when it gets to they say go and turn off the IREV. The law we made for ourselves to correct card reader. Card reader means card reader work here, didn't work, incident form, so many fraud. We say let us now use indigenous technology invented by a Nigerian working for INEC, and it's working perfectly well. Worked in Anambra, worked in Ondo State, worked in Osun State, and then Osun was the last, worked in Edo to bring Obaseki second term. When he get to presidential, deliberately we turned it off. And they started to do TPEX, change result, announce Tinubu. Then later you say, hey, no, don't go away. We can't take that shit. We can't take it anymore. So what Iboho is doing is the way to do it. But I don't know what is contained in the letter. I would have loved the letter to be, Britain, you joined us together. We are just putting you on notice that you should not come and truncate us again through back door by advising us of unity. You left EU with your own Brexit. Therefore, we want to do that way. Don't come, when you were doing your EU, we from Nigeria never told you not to leave or to truncate it. Now that we Yorubas want to leave, we don't want you to go through back door and start to say, no, come and preach us what you recommend for us, a tablet you will never take. Don't do it. So if the letter contains something like this, that's what I love. It's not enough going to submit a letter. What does the letter contain? Tell them that you were leaving, they put you into this mess, and they should not come and truncate it. The way they left EU, Britain is here today. Even if life, I'm in UK, we know that everybody said they're out. What they were saying during their Brexit, do you know the campaign here? They want their freedom. It was freedom they were talking. Oh, we want to be free from EU. Why can't Yoruba be free from Nigeria? Why? Are they not a people? So that is exactly where I'm driving at. And whatever I use for Yoruba, I use it for any other group, Biafra, of which I'm interested, and every other one. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Sam. I'll just go this way. So, Bob Chisco, Yoruba Nation, they want to break away from Nigeria. Why do you think more and more groups are asking to break away from Nigeria? Is it because they don't like the country Nigeria? Or why exactly are people agitating to leave? Why can't we be one big formidable nation?
Yeah. Before I delve into that, this day in history, exactly today, 38 years ago, October 19, 1986, Mr. Delegiwa was in his dining room eating, having his dinner. A letter came in. On opening the letter, it was a bomb. Explosion. Delegiwa died. October 19, 1986. Today, here we are still struggling how to better Nigeria. We started with regional government when life was better. As our fathers told us, some of us were not born then. I was not around then. And from what we heard in history, life was better when we were one country but still under regional government. Life in Yoruba land, all God so well for them. Life in Igbo land, all God ways for them. Life in the north, they cherish the granite pyramid. Today, we have embraced democracy, toeing the path of the United States, a country that practices democracy in the strictest sense of democracy, and the people are enjoying the dividends of democracy. Nigeria, each time they say our nascent democracy, nothing is better than democracy. And we can see what democracy have given to us. Democracy have ended up in putting more money in the pockets of those who have continued to lead us astray. Political leaders in Nigeria, that's why they don't want to hear anybody kicking against democracy, because they know democracy in Nigeria favors only but the few who are rich. And that's why the gap has continued to widen, the poor getting poorer, while the rich is getting richer. Unfortunately, today in Nigeria, I doubt if we have any middle class existing. It is either you are poor, I don't want to say extremely poor, let me just leave it like that. It's either you are poor or you are rich. Some people who were placed in the cadre of middle class today have fallen deeper into poverty. I watched a lady the other day on a TV set. Out of anger, emotion, she walked off the studio on a live TV show when they were discussing the issues about Nigeria, the situation, to the level it has gotten to, that someone out of anger bottled up in her mind. She couldn't contain it no more. She just stood up and left the studio. I was watching, I said, wow, has he got into this? Maybe our leaders have not seen the seriousness this level of poverty has eaten deep into the life of the people they are governing. On this issue of self-determination, it didn't start today. Before now, it used to be Biafra. I'm a proud Igbo man. It used to be Biafra. They hunt us down. People flying their flags everywhere. They hunt them down. They shoot them. Other regions of the country were quiet. But you can see today, power has gone out of their hand. They have started to shout Araba. The Northerners have started to plan. We want to live in Nigeria. Yoruba is the same thing. Before now, Professor Banji Akintoye, I used to hear his voice. Suddenly, I don't know what has happened. Whether they have cajoled him, they have tried to shut him up for his life, and he kept quiet. Sunday Igboho going to UK to tender a letter to the 10 Downing Street. Well, some people have criticized him, saying that is not the proper place. He should have gone to United Nations. That it is enshrined in the Charter of the United Nations that self-determination is the right of any group of individuals who want to succeed. So I don't see any role UK will play in listening to them. And could you imagine, immediately after that, the Foreign Affairs Ministry of Nigeria have to caution UK. They have to invite the British ambassador to Nigeria. This is the only way, the only place you see them acting so quickly, very swiftly. They invited him, and the man said, yes, they came, they tendered a letter, but the UK didn't act upon it. Yeah, stay off our democracy. That is the only way you see that. Because of what? They wouldn't want to let go this power. They wouldn't want to, all this money, resources, every month I sit here and I listen to the trillions of naira being shared among the 3 tiers of government. Federal takes this, state takes this, local takes this. But at the end of every month, you wouldn't see where these monies are going. Bad road everywhere, no electricity, no pipe-borne water, no good road. But every month, monies are being shared in trillions. And governors are busy enriching themselves. Tell me which governor in Nigeria has left power in Nigeria and you hear that governor is a poor man. Otis Okalo was on TV 2 days ago saying that he receives 40 million naira every month. We know he's lying. They receive more than that. But upon that, Otis Okali was proud. I'm from Abia State. A man who looted the resources of my state, who left Abia State deep in poverty.
Thank you.
Left Abia State deep in poverty. After him, Theodoji came up, and they messed up the whole country. And this man is coming out now to tell us that Tinubu is the best. My brother, on this issue of Nigeria, I think this democracy is not helping us. And the worst of it all is that those people were elected to represent us at the National Assembly. They should take the larger chunk of the blame, because if your people really elected you and they told you, please speak up for this, why not pass a bill? Why are you scared of passing a bill?
Okay, thank you.
Why are you scared of passing a bill? Throw up that bill. Let the people see where it goes. One Nigeria is not helping us. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob Chisco. Flagship, welcome to the show. You joined us right at the very end. So we're discussing the last topic of the day. Chief Sunday Igboho came to the UK to plead with or to inform the UK government to say, can we please go, sir? What do you think the government of Nigeria can do today to win the hearts of the people who have made up their minds to say, we're leaving, this is not working for us? What exactly can be done to make people change their minds, even if it's too late? But if you're advising the government without, we're not using force now, we're trying to say, okay, you know what, let's sit down, we're going to make things work for you. What exactly can be done to change the minds of people?
Thank you, Sho. It's good to see you again. Excuse me, to be honest, a good place to start will be for the government to come up before the people and say, we failed. We admit it. We do not know what we're doing. We have failed completely, but we are willing to go back to the landmark and start all over again. And this time, it will not just be we, the government alone, but it will be we as a people together. We're going to make this right. I think if they come out that way, it would be a good start for them to start to make people to say, all right, let's see how we can make this work. And then begin to own up to their mistakes, be accountable for everything that they have mismanaged, and maybe resign their positions because they cannot do the job. And then call for a general election or appointment of those that are expertise in governance and that can handle each sector to put up a transition government that can manage things for a given amount of time until we restructure and put everything back to where it's supposed to be. That's the only way they can get people to go back and say, all right, let's give it a second thought, or let's consider staying together. Remember the show we had this morning, one of the questions that was posed by the anchor of the show was that, is Nigeria's unity negotiable? And my stand, or my response rather, to that question was and is now that it is not. It is not negotiable, not because the people do not think that they can sit down together to discuss what will work for them and how to move forward. It is not negotiable because those that control the government, that actually rule Nigeria, are not willing to negotiate. It's in their hands. They are not willing to have any conversation. So no matter the number of national conference meetings you have, whatever you come up with is nothing, hogwash to them. They throw it away. They are not willing to negotiate. They are not ready and willing to let Nigeria go right now from what they made it to be in 1914. And it makes a lot of sense to see why Sunday Igboho will go to them, because they know that these are the people that have made Nigeria what it is and are still in charge and in control of Nigeria. Those that we have as leaders today are just pseudo leaders. They are, in other words,
what you call proxy leaders, figureheads that are in Nigeria, but the actual people that make the decisions are right there in Britain. They call the shots. That is why during every election cycle, they have to take a trip there to go tell them what they want to do, not even tell them what they want to do now, but to take instructions from them on how they are going to govern Nigeria. Are you willing to do as we have laid down? These are the rules on the surface paper. This is what governance is. But underneath those pile of documents, this is actually what the rules and terms of conditions on how you would lead in Nigeria as president or a government, should we give you our blessings. That's why they do that. They can go there, talk to them, but they cannot talk to the people in Nigeria. They cannot sit down and have a meeting or a debate, a simple common debate to tell the Nigerian people what they want to do and how they plan to do it. And then when they need to meet with those who actually are governing Nigeria, and I maintain that stand, the Brits are actually in charge. When they want to have meetings, they go there to discuss and have meetings. How do you go to a foreign man's land to discuss important issues about your country when you know that you could be wired? Wherever you're sitting down to have that conversation could be wired. They know and hear about everything you're talking about. It doesn't make any sense at all. So for Sunday Igboho and the rest of them, the professor that went to the Brits to tender that letter requesting support, I'm expecting that they will do two more, one to the United Nations and one to the United States itself, because as it is, yes, the Brits did colonize Nigeria and sort of gave Nigeria a partial freedom. The United States, as it is right now, indirectly ruling Nigeria because they've given us a system of government that we know nothing about, that we cannot even understand. And we are trying the best we can to operate it, and that's democracy. Somebody just said that the U.S. does practice democracy in the strictest form. Yes, but the version that Nigeria is practicing right now is in nowhere compared to what they really call democracy here. So I think this is just a fruitless effort. It's not going to do anything. And of course, that's why the ambassador in Nigeria was summoned, and he had to defend the British Prime Minister.
Right.
It's a process. They just dropped letters but never acted on it. So that's the wrong way to go, in my opinion.
All right. Thank you, Flagship. Revolution. I'm just going to ask you, simple, short answer. The fact that they've gone to the UK, does that mean we are not free yet? That independence is not truly real? Or why would they have gone to London?
Thank you again. I came in because of this this topic. These brothers who went to UK to tender. For me, it's the biggest disgrace and shameful thing I've ever seen a Nigerian do in all my life. I was shocked when I first heard of it. I was very, very disappointed. You know why I was disappointed? Many of them are these people I put a bracket at calling them educated illiterates. I couldn't believe them, that they could leave Nigeria, an independent country. They know where to go. They know what to do if they are looking for freedom. They thought, because sometimes I really get pissed off when people say Nigerians are not free. The white man control this, the white man this, we are just working under them. We forget to look at ourselves, black people, Nigerians especially. How do we treat ourselves when white man has nothing to do with us? How do we treat ourselves one-to-one? We forget that. And when it comes to critical issues, they start blaming the white man. We didn't get a full independence. They gave us half independence. They gave us quarter independence. They gave us three-quarter independence. They forget to ask themselves, how do we relate to ourselves? Black to black, Igbo to Igbo, Yoruba to Yoruba. How do we treat ourselves? Do we treat ourselves with love? Do we like ourselves? No. And when it comes to critical situations, they start telling you that Africans are not free. If they kill a black man today, they will tell you it's the British man who paid the black man to kill the black man. You understand what I'm telling you? Dele Giwa's days today. The people who killed Dele Giwa sent that letter to him are black Nigerians who delivered that letter, and they know what that letter contains. You get my point? Nobody of us here, a white man now will tell you, come and put hand in fire. Will you put hand that fire? You won't do that because we born you. That time your head go day well. Chatham House, I asked a question here. I asked you people to correct me. Is there anywhere in our constitution that says before you rule Nigeria, you have to go to Chatham House? Sure, you made it clear to me. You said there's nowhere it is written. This is the mentality of black people, black men. We have our problem. We don't want to deal with it. Anything you say, you find it convenient and good to tell us, a whole man like me, who have seen what a Nigerian can do to another Nigerian. You tell me my problem is a white man. No, the white man has nothing to do with Nigeria. Nigeria has internal problem. We have our style of life that has kept us where we are. Gentlemen, white people have nothing to do with our downfall. Our downfall is our way, the way Nigerians behave. If we refuse to solve that problem, nothing will change. We can keep lying, blaming, telling us that a white man is the problem. This man go to UK, go and beg them. When they tell them now, this Yoruba nation or Biafrans, come on the streets, let us fight for Biafra, let us fight for Yoruba nation, you will not see anybody. Since Nnamdi Kanu has been incarcerated, I've never seen Igbos anywhere in the world come out and protest for that thing. If one come out, they say, don't go. If you go, they will kill you. Nnamdi Kanu is suffering. If they catch Igbo tomorrow now, no Yoruba man will come out to support him. So if for me, it's a shame that a whole educated, I was watching them that day, I saw one man speaking for Igboho. The way I saw him later, they say it's a professor of something or something like that. Going out of Nigeria, the Senate, the House of Assembly is there. Where to protest is there. No, they went and disgraced themselves, giving a white man, British people, paper. Please, you are the one who joined us together. Please divide us. Is that possible?
All right. Thank you, Revolution. A few things I'm just going to mention quickly before I go to Pansat and we'll round off. The Nigerian government are trying to promote Nigeria by trying to ban foreign cartoons. So they are trying to ban all foreign cartoons. I think that would help us promote Nigerian content. I grew up watching Super Ted, Voltron, Incredible Hulk, and it hasn't stopped me from loving Nigeria, but they think banning cartoon is going to solve our problems where our leaders are junketing, going all over the world. They don't take their holidays in Nigeria. If you want to promote Nigeria, I would think that's a better way. It's a quicker way of promoting Nigeria than saying, let's ban all foreign cartoons. Also, if you've not had, Senator Ojius Okalu said, the president knows that Nigerians are suffering because he drives around Abuja at night in 2 cars. You know, just Tinubu and a few people drive around Abuja at night. And by doing that, he can feel the suffering of the people. I don't know who is going about at night. Poor people don't roam the street at night. It's the big boys who have money. So I don't know who Tinubu is saying at night that makes Ojius Okalu think he understands the suffering of Nigerians. I would also like to announce one more time, Omoyele Sowore is going to be with us tomorrow, Pansat. I know you love Sowore and you have lots of questions for him. So please make it a date. Join us tomorrow. Dr. Damages will be back tomorrow to interview Omoyele Sowore. We're also moving house in January. From January 2025, this show will no longer be on this channel. You would find us on Iroko Post TV. We have 246 people viewing on YouTube. Please click on the like button. It's the thumb up button. Please click it once. If you've clicked it already, do not click it second time. If we have 246 people, at least half of you would like what we do. Let's even say half and half. Half of you don't like us. You don't want to promote what we do. The other half that like us, please click on the thumb up. Let's get, about 150, 130, whatever likes on YouTube. Please do that. Another thing, I would like to just mention a few names of a few people I've not seen today or the last few weeks. Eagles Air, our brother in India. I've not seen Victory in a while. Matt, who lives in Barcelona, I've not seen him in a long, long time. I've not seen Uzo Amadioha. Maybe he joins the late night show. We have a sister in Germany, AJ Diaz. I'm not sure if I pronounce it well, but we have a sister in Germany who used to join. Sid, we've not seen you in a long time. If you're still about, it'd be nice to hear from you. We have African Queen. The last time I saw her was before the election. Ismiri of London. That's another, regular who we've not seen in a while. Olumide, it will have been nice to have you today to talk to us about the Yoruba nation, and what you think of the trip to London. Who else have I missed? If I've missed your name, it's not intentional. I know Paul, Kene, Jonaba, the American guys will come in to join 4 fathers later. I guess the timing works better for them. And 2 other people, Righteous Man and Iconography. Iconography is a young chap who joins from Nigeria. I've seen him twice on the show. I like his mindset, and I think he's going to come tomorrow. That Showore is coming. I think he was a big supporter of Showore until he moved to the OB camp, but I think he might join us tomorrow, or he might not. Righteous Man is not joining us frequently. As you can imagine, it's tough in Nigeria. Joining every weekend, spending God knows how much money on data might not be easy. I've done the best I could to support both of them in private. But if you can reach out to them, if there's any way you can support them, for those who joined from Nigeria, to you it might be $10, it might be $20. I'm not soliciting for it. If you can, if you feel like you enjoy their company on the show, please, support them to buy data. It's quite expensive. Ngozi as another person that joins from Nigeria. I can imagine how expensive it is for these guys to join from Nigeria. But on that note, Uncle Pansat, let me come to you. So you've seen the Yoruba Nation guys. Is there a world where you and I, Yoruba Nation and the, IPOB, Biafra, that we can join forces and ask to leave Nigeria together?
Well, thank you very much, Shaw, for hosting the show. You're doing a decent job. I wanted to join so I could discuss some other matters, but we're limited to the question at hand now, which is Yoruba Nation, and let's try to deal with that. Before I do that, let me say hello to everybody on the panel and those in the comment section. I thank you in advance for paying attention to what I'm about to say. Hope you find it interesting, informative, and clarifying, right? So, unfortunately, on this panel, especially on this platform here, you have a bunch of venerable people, honored, educated, erudite people such as Dr. CM, yourselves, and Dr. Damages, and the kind of guests that he bring here. They're venerable, but the discussion we have though is with about rambunctious group of Nigerians, right? You're talking about activists, Nigeria in general, the topic. So it kind of paints me in a different light. Usually I'm a nice guy, right? But when we discuss a topic like this, we have to tell the truth about what's going on. When we take it in the middle and we're discussing the Yoruba equivalent of, let's say, IPOB, we have to understand that if they are sincere, right, there should be some kind of symbiotic relationship with that of the Southeast, right? Because they come in later. They're rudimentary. You have Nigeria as a three-legged stool. So you have the Southeasterners who's been to war already. So the main business, they do want to exit. Then it's the approach of any in Kuwait Yoruba exit group would just, the method would go to the Southeasterners, where 2 agree out of 3, there'll be a majority and they're just going to exit. They don't have to ask anybody, right? The 2 would exit, and then the Hausas and the Muslims of the North can be by themselves. These 2 would then go their separate ways. So, of course, there's a relationship. It's not completely unrelated. but it's what you know in relationship, mature relationship. You have your mature where you gain and I gain, right? Like a remora and a well. Then you also have a parasitic where I gain and you lose. Now we don't have that, but we have a commensal. The one is called commensalism, where one species, in this case, the Yorubas, they're not harmed. I mean, in that case, it's like the cattle and the egret, right? So we are stirred up as a cattle, and then the egret is enjoying himself. That's what happened all along, including during the war. It's a commensal relationship. They're supposed to come to the Southeasterners and say, look, this country is not working, so we have to exit. We have to divide this thing. You don't have to go to anybody. You don't have to beg the Northerners to do it. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So I would, that's the only thing I would have to say. Now, for example, when we do our own, say IPOB, you're gonna, not all, I'm gonna be talking in the rule, not the exception. There are exceptions, right? You have, for example, Dele Farah to me, it's an exception to whatever I'm gonna knock the Southwest about. But the rule is that when we do ours, a lot of them are running their mouth, condemning us, joining with the other side, and then maybe 10 years later, they start doing what we're doing 10 years ago. You know? But every time they do their stuff, we support them. If Southwestern say, hey, we want Amatekun, every Southeastern that I know, online or otherwise, will say, yes, give them Amatekun because people are invading their lands. Give them Amatekun to protect their lands and their lives. Why shouldn't they have an armed group to help them safeguard their communities? But if we do ours, it's all IPOB. They want to do this. Everything they do, we support them. When Igboho is captured and maltreated by the Nigerian forces or Showore, we say, knock it off. Sunday Igboho is a good guy. And he's fighting for his people. And we support Sunday Igboho, and we up to now, we have no problem. Or Showore, it's a bunch of Igbo judges that release Showore, else he'll still be in the slammer over there. So I just want to show you the kind of relationship we have. So if once they're sincere, and I'm giving them time, I believe that it's in Kuwait, right? It's elementary, it's rudimentary. They're just getting into it. So they get kudos for that. But once they get off the embryonic stage and open their eyes, they're supposed to just look around to the southeast and say, oh, look, we don't have to do anything but just mean business. And either I don't support IPOB or Igboho leaving the stuff for the North. I don't support that. What I'm saying, when I say I want Biafra, we'll have to take what belongs to us, which is the whole country. We brought it about, right? If you want your own country, you go and get your own Nnamdi Azikiwe and go get your own independence. So there's a little difference between me as a Biafran. I'm still going to take what belongs to me. Everybody that migrated into the country and ruining it has to exit. And those who want to work to make the country better, they're going to be welcome. So I know it's a short thing here. I want to also, I talked about the approach, the respect. We have to have some respect here. It's very important. I support the Yorubas who are trying to do their own self-determination for statehood. I don't know exactly what it's looking for, if it's statehood or their own country, allegiance of government and all that. What I advise them to do when they sober up is to look further south. There's a three-legged stool. If you mean business, right, with respect, none of that stuff that Yorubas do when you make a deal with them, and then they're gonna change up on you. Now, with all due respect, sure, there are some exceptions, and I believe you're probably one of those. I know that you do your Yoruba stuff here. You and I, we used to fight about it, but you do with respect. Like when you're today, it's a Yoruba show, and that's fine. That's the way to do it with class. I respect that, and you're doing a fine job. But anyway, let me leave it at that for now. Like I said, your group, They're venerable. They're honorable people like the guy in the middle. You don't have the names up. What's his name?
Flagship.
Who's that?
Flagship.
Flagship, right? Gentleman. He's unfazed. He cares. He's a patriot, but it's never. You don't see his eyebrow furrowed with any perplexity, no matter what's going on in the country. So we have to mix it up, right? CM is the same. When you upset him, then he would show it. All I'm saying is that there's no honor in being a gentleman about what we have to do. We cannot be talking forever. Like I'm a bad guy because I come and I'm upset, obviously, right? Sure, I don't get along with you. It's the same thing. I've clashed with James there, but I've made all of you better. I've made James better, for example. He used to be not as good as he is now on this platform. So I'm saying we can't talk forever. We have to actually call out the problem in our country. Why everybody want to leave? In short, I'll end in 30 seconds. Is the northern Sunni Muslims. That's what the problem we have. If we solve that problem either by inviting them to the table and say, look, guys, knock it off. We're not going to take this anymore where you're in charge of everything, but you're responsible. If we, like CM said, Dr. CM, we spent 400 billion naira to do an election. They just turn off the beavers. That's disrespectful. That's not rigging of an election, right? Or if we have a Supreme Court, that is the apex court of the land, you populate it with Sharia judges, and when we have our legal luminaries come to court, all a judge has to do is say, look, get out of here. You don't meet the threshold of what I'm looking for. You can always abuse the democracy, right? So I know the gentleman, I don't know his name, is new, all the way to the top of the right. He's saying democracy doesn't work. We don't have a democracy if you have separate branches of government. It's going to work. Where one is, have an adversarial or semi-adversarial relationship with the other and be able to check it and balance it out. We don't have that. And that's because Northern Sunni Muslims do not believe in democracy. Now, when I call it out like that, people say, hey, you're trying to diverge the session. You want to make them mad. But the reason why I'm using Northern Muslims, because you also have Muslims in the Southwest.
All right. Hansat, sorry, my laptop decided to down me at the last minute.
Hey, sure. I was going to mention there is another young lady called Ubore from California. She's not been on for a minute.
So, yes, thank you for that. So, with the time she used to join, I wasn't on the platform for about 3 months. I think that would be end of last year, early this year. I was away for about 3-4 months. I saw some of the shows she attended or she joined, but I never met her on the panel. But anyone you remember, just shout out, just for them to know that at least we know that they're not here. We remember them and all of that. But thank you for that. Olga Panta, thank you for your contribution. Like I've said, I'm going to come around everyone. 30 seconds, just if you have any final thoughts. You don't have to take up the opportunity. You can just pass. We've overrun this by 7 minutes. Forefathers is waiting in the wings. It's going to take over, and it's going to have the next 9 hours broken into 3-hour shows, because the ladies segment, the ladies show, is not hosting today. I believe the ladies on holiday or something like that. So the ladies show is not going to happen. So Forefathers will take over from now. 3 hours break, another 3 hours, then the last 3 hours. So you have Forefathers. I mean, you guys will have so much to talk about. Before I come to you for your final thoughts, I'd like to thank everyone who's joined. I'd like to thank everyone who's watched. But most especially for those in the comment section, you've been engaging each other. It's been decent most of the time. I saw 1 or 2 comments of people going at each other. It shouldn't happen. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So I think Forefather will just carry on with this stream. I think Esini wants to carry on with this stream. Okay, but I just want to thank everyone who's joined. I want to thank Oscar Blackbone especially. Started off with the super chat, then followed by Fato, who gave $50. We're grateful. He helps in running the channel. And Tokwe, my sister from Remo. I mean, what can I say? She supported one of our own. So thank you everyone who's given generously to the channel. And to those who will give later. And I see that people are talking about my tie. I think it's become a topic of discussion. So I was on a different program this morning, so I decided to go and look appropriate for what they are doing over there. When I come here, it's more relaxed. And I thought, why not? Let me keep the tie. I paid a lot for the tie, but I've seen a lot of banter. The comment section is Honestly, it's crazy. Someone said, can you see that KJ is not wearing tie? That's the same tie that they share. So KJ is not wearing it. Show has it today. And someone said, is it team bonding or austerity measure? I mean, the sort of madness that going in the comment section. See, this tie, I was able to afford it because this government is favoring me and my family. You remember when they used to tell us this government will favor me and my family? It's favored me and my family, but thank you everyone for joining. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'll come to you from Tony. Okay, 30 seconds, no more than that. Any final thoughts?
Thank you everybody on the platform and those who are watching. It's been quite an interesting session. Briefly, my position is that yes, Nigeria is not working, but I still think that it's a leadership question. Again, I reiterate that some of the countries that have gone their various ways, some of them are not doing well. Eritrea is not doing well. 17% of the population is on asylum. South Sudan is not doing well. So I think the basic thing is for people to sit down, find out what really is the problem, and then they can retool the systems, the structure, whatever it is. Leadership is critical in achieving the goals of the national development, and we don't have it. Yeah, we don't.
Oh, sorry, CM, I didn't know I was muted. CM, any final thoughts? Sorry, I didn't know I was muted.
Okay, my final thought is this. I leave Nigerians with this thought. Number one, every Nigerian will agree. Self-determination is your right. It's your right, yes. That is the principle. If you then want to put it into practice, they will start to tell you, you want to destabilize Nigeria. You want to break up the country. Then what is self-determination? If I can't have my own area as a sovereign nation, why do you say self-determination is my right? It's my right because I want to have, even if it's my local government as my own country, that is my right. That is the meaning of self-determination. But if I want to do it, people will say, you want to break up which country? Break up which country? The country put together by Lugard, in which the British are regretting. I will go and look for July 15th, 1998, letters to the editor, written by the Times of London, written by David Smithers. 1 week after they poisoned MKO Abiola in 1998. Go and look for the letter they wrote in London Times newspaper. They regretted. Okay. They said that is what they wanted to do, but it's not working, and Nigeria should do something about it. So if I now want to enforce my self-determination, you start to discourage me. Oh no, if I go, I will be like Eritrea. So what? It doesn't work that way. No two countries are the same. You do what you want by your own self. Even if I'm on my own suffering, I know it's my own making. Thank you very much. And not because Lord Lugard put me together. Thank you.
Thank you, CM. Bob Chisco, 30 seconds, please. Brief. If you have anything to add, just to tie it up. You're muted. Okay, let's go to Flagship, and we'll come back to you, Bob Chisco. Flagship.
Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, go on, Bob Chisco. 30 seconds, please.
What I'm saying is that it's time to dismantle this Jericho wall that has held us down. They have not helped us, and they're not going to help us in the future. All they care is for themselves. Anyone who figure out anything we can do to dismantle this cankerworm that has continued to kneel on our neck, we need to break off. Simple.
Thank you, Bob Chisco. Flagship, in 30 seconds, anything to add?
Yes, I'll do it in pidgin English. My people, bushfire. They say now one small spark, 90 to start. To make change for Nigeria, make we start to think of doing something good, small, one person at a time for our community. By the time we know, we put all of them together, we bring about the kind of change when we want for Nigeria, whether together or separate. Unado.
All right, thank you. Revolution. I think you should be able to say yours in one word. But I'll give you 30 seconds. Any final?
Yeah, like you know, it's just one word, and that word is revolution. Whether it's a peaceful revolution, sit at home to protest against these bad people who has captured us, or we just knock our head and destroy everything and rebuild. Thank you.
Thank you. Pansat, in 30 seconds, is there anything you would like to add?
Okay, well, let me associate myself with the remarks of those who've spoken before me. Flagship, make I talk my own for Pidgin English too. As in-stock revolution, waiting I go suggest na coordination. Yesterday I've been using Pidgin English. I talk about coordination for Pidgin English because flagship should be doing a Pidgin English show. I don't want some people to think say you no go school again, say Pidgin English. I go define coordination for Pidgin English, so you know say a Pidgin English is still a word. You must go school to use that. Coordination are the process where the central nervous system they sort out the various impulses to make the body function as a unit. That's on the Pidgin English. So I thank you all. Let's coordinate. Yoruba, Igboho, Nnamdi, the people in the north. I see some sign that they're doing something good there. So let's coordinate and take our country back, not necessarily by force, but not by begging either. That we can take the country back. It's ours. The Yoruba's main business, the Igbo's main business. Do you want to tell me that there should be, even their representatives in Congress alone can vote things in if they're serious? But we have to do it not by begging, from doing the right thing to force if we have to do that. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Pansat. Make it look like say myself no sabi blow small pigeon, so make a follow now. Jam the pigeon. Myself as I'm small. So, Pa James, if I go come to you now, you get what you want to talk for this last 30 seconds.
In the words of Chief Zebediah, yes, he said, I will say that Nigeria is dead, died. The country is dead completely. This is a time for us to be thinking of post-Nigeria republics. The habit of running from pillar to post, looking for investors and all those things, they are all exercises in futility. Wole Soyinka said that a tiger does not display its tigritude, it pounces. Nigeria is not a good investment destination. Anybody who has got his money should invest it in better countries. To me, humanity is more important than Nigeria. So I cannot deceive any investor to come and invest in Nigeria simply because I'm in Nigeria. Nigeria is dead, died. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. On that note, I'll be bringing this to an end. I'd be like, say, for father self don't join. So I'm waiting to talk for comment. Be say, you don't join in stream to this one. It'd be like, say, no, go start another one. So me, I go come out, and for father, I go start this one. I don't understand.
No, I go start another one. No.
Oh, you go start another one ahead. So for father, I go start another one.
Okay,
So,
me say they say goodbye to everybody.
so I'm going to sign out on this one. I'll play the outro music and let us, dance out with this beautiful Zoro song. And please stay behind and keep Forefather company as he takes us into the small o'clocks, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, all the little hours. The time Tinubu goes out to see his people.
Onye ọma zoro bio akwa nwa zoro bio Max ịbịa bunye gokwanụ m n'ofube n'azụ ụlaga n'ịbịa zugo mmanwụ ụlaga do n'ịbịa zugo akwa nwa ilochi yo biko rapụ zoro ka ọ nabazi ya
Onye ọma zoro biko